News into the Fanfare news feed.
All right. Welcome to a Saturday, very, very, very important edition. Man, do you smell that? Reminds me of a movie, I can't remember, maybe 1980, 82. The movie was called Apocalypse Now. And Robert Duvall was a sergeant in the Army in Vietnam, and he was a real tough guy, real tough man, and would go in and do whatever he needed to do. And in the midst of bombs coming and all these different things happening, he calls in a napalm strike because he's got some new people in his troops and one of the guy happens to be a fantastic surfer. And he's like, we're going to surf right here. And bombs are going off and all these things are happening. Crazy things are happening. And these kids are like, what are you doing? And Robert Duvall squats down and goes, you smell that? And the kids are like, yeah. He goes, that's napalm. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Smells like victory. Ooh, I got a little chills just thinking about that. Didn't look it up, just remembered it from memory because that's how much it jumped into my soul when I saw that scene. Smells like victory. Love the smell of napalm in the morning. Well, kids, smell it? It's victory. That's what's happening right now in our country. The enemy don't surf. I wouldn't use the expletive that he used, but the enemy don't surf. You see, these people, as I've mentioned to you many, many, many times, are showing you they are using their last agonal breaths. Agonal breaths, as I've mentioned and told you, it's those last breaths that somebody does before they die. And right now, these Democrats, as you've seen in the last 24 to 48 hours, are expelling agonal breaths. They got nothing left. They're pushed all their chips in, and today they've just basically underscored that for you to see. If you didn't know that the storm was coming, it's too late because the storm is here. They have pretty much put the stake in the ground and go, we're ready to die on this hill. We have to take down this country. We have to stop Donald Trump. We have to do anything we can and everything we can. And we've tried just about everything we can because we must take down America. And that means you and me. And they're making it completely known. They have taken the trench coat and flown it open and said, yeah, this is what we have to do at this point. So some of you guys are probably thinking to yourself, what in the hell is Barry talking about? Well, about an hour ago or so, we found out that a district court judge in New York, as a result of a lawsuit filed by Letitia James and 18 other attorneys generals across the country, which is also going to be a problem for them. 18 other attorneys generals across the country, exclusively from blue states, decided they were going to sue Donald Trump and the administration to prevent Doge from doing anything. So before we get too far, I think it's incumbent that I share this order with you, this piece of trash order, this thing that Trump will wipe his butt with, that Pam Bondi will file probably a writ of mandamus very quickly with SCOTUS, and I'll explain to you what a writ of mandamus is. Some of you may be attorneys and you understand that, but let's look at the atrocity that this order is. Right here at the top, you can see all the states that joined in on this lawsuit. New York, Arizona, California, Colorado, Connecticut, Delaware, Hawaii, Illinois, Maine, Maryland, Massachusetts, Minnesota, Nevada, New Jersey, North Carolina, Oregon, Rhode Island, Vermont, and Wisconsin. Even though some of those states Trump won in the election, the governors and the attorneys generals decided to join Letitia James in filing this lawsuit. Smell that? Smell that desperation? Yeah, it smells like victory. Don't let that evaporate from your mind. They sued Donald J. Trump in his, quote, official capacity as president, U.S. Department of the Treasury, and Scott Bessent in his official capacity as Secretary of the Treasury of the Department of Treasury. Don't forget that designation. The official capacity. Okay, let's continue. It is a 4-page ruling, but for the most part says Paul Engelmeyer, the district judge, a district judge appointed by Barack Obama. The court, sitting in its Part 1 capacity this evening, received an application for a temporary restraining order filed by the attorneys generals of the 19 states identified as plaintiffs. The lawsuit challenges a policy by the United States Department of the Treasury at the direction of the President and Secretary of the Treasury, which, as alleged, expands access to payment systems of the BFS, Bureau of Fiscal Services, to political appointees and special government employees. That's important. The states contend that policy, inter alia, violates the administrative procedures in multiple respects, exceeds the statutory authority of the Department of Treasury, violates the separation of powers, and yada, 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 and they state all kinds of things. So, I want to go all the way down here to tell you what the order is and how this judge completely messed up. Oh, by the way, when he did this and had this hearing, he didn't invite anybody from the government. This was completely ex parte. Ex parte means one side. Let that sink in. Something so massive, something so important in our government, and the only people there are the people suing. You didn't even tell the other side that they had to come and defend against this complaint. Just don't need ya. Completely ex parte. By themselves, they sat there. This judge became the judge, the jury, and the executioner without ever listening to anything from the government. Smells like desperation. Napalm in the morning to me. That's how I look at it. All right. The judge orders that the defendant show cause before, The judge show cause before Honorable Jeanette Vargas at courtroom blah, 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 blah on 2 p.m. on February 14th. So first of all, what he did was he said, you got to stop everything you're doing. You cannot continue moving forward until such time as the Honorable Jeanette Vargas takes this case up. So I'm going to shut it down right now, then I'm out. You're going to have to deal with her. She's going to have a hearing on February 14th, a week from now. All right, continue. And at that point, at 2 p.m. on February 14th, why an order should not be issued pursuant to Rule 65 of the Federal Rules of Civil Procedure, yada, 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 and everything else. Okay, so the first part of the order, we're going to set this for a hearing for next week. Then we'll decide what you're actually going to do. Then, this is the part that's absolutely freaking insane. The judge orders that sufficient reason having been shown thereof, pending the hearing of the state's application, sufficient reason having been shown. By who? There wasn't anybody else in the court. There was no evidence and no reason shown by the government. And you're just putting in here, evidence, right? I've seen it. Yeah, you're right. This is bad. Let's shut it down. The other side never presented anything. Okay? Okay. The defendants, Donald Trump, in his capacity as president, So remember, they sued him according to his capacity as president. They sued the Department of Treasury and Scott Bessent in his official capacity as secretary. All right. You are restrained from granting access to any Treasury Department record systems or any other data maintained by the Treasury Department containing personally identifiable information or confidential financial information of payees, anyone who are paying, other than to civil servants with a need for access to perform their job. Oh, wait a minute. So the president and the secretary of the Treasury cannot look, but civil servants can. Okay. And that's only to perform their job, who have passed all background checks and security clearances and have taken all information security training for federal statutes and yada, yada, yada. So he knows that these people in Doge have not gone through all this crap. Elon, yeah, he's got a security clearance. Obviously, President Trump has one. But all these other people, he's saying you can't do it. Now, where it gets really crazy here. Okay, so now you can't access anything. You're the Secretary of the Treasury, and you can't access this. Not only can you not access it, you are ordered to direct any person prohibited above from having access to such information, but who had such information, to immediately destroy all the evidence. So you haven't had a single person from the government testify. And you're saying there's a hearing next Friday. But before the hearing next Friday, destroy everything you've seen. Well, how am I going to have a hearing to talk to the next judge and tell her what we've been finding is criminal or corrupt if you're telling me today to destroy everything that we've seen? Notice the date, from the date you were inaugurated, January 20th. Destroy it all. Smell it? Smell that desperation in the air? We're going to have a hearing next week. But in the interim, what I need you to do is anything that you guys have found thus far, anything that may be incriminating, anything that, may be evidentiary that you might want to give to Pam Bondi, any of that, you are herewith ordered to destroy it. So you're telling me a district court judge is taking it upon himself to tell the president and the secretary of the Treasury to destroy evidence of a potential crime. Oh, but you don't know there's a potential crime because you didn't bring anybody in from the government. So it's like, la, 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 la. Just go ahead and rip it all up, shred it, do whatever you need to do. Your Honor, we've got evidence that crimes have been committed. I'm sorry, delete it all. Shred it. Anything you downloaded. Really? Is that what you want this? Is this finally the hill that we're going to see the Democrats die on? I think so. I think at this point they are willing to die on it. Because they got nothing else. I keep telling you, I told you about the email I got from somebody a couple days ago and said, stop saying they're dead. They're telling you they're dead. I'm not telling you. They are showing you we got nothing. All we can do is hope that we find some judge who's completely an activist who will listen to what we've said and tell you to not only stop, but delete everything you found. This isn't Cuba. This isn't Ukraine. This is America for now. This is supposed to be, the home of the free, the land of the free, home of the brave. We sang it since we were kids. And you are openly telling people to destroy evidence of a potential crime. So yeah, the storm is here, and they have initiated a coup. They are taking you into communism. They're taking you into Marxism. They're going to force it on the federal government. They're going to force you to comply. I had mentioned a couple times to people today, like, if you pay taxes on April 15th, you deserve it. You deserve what's coming. If you're not in this fight, you're on the sidelines. Because some people are like, well, I got to file because what will happen to me? Well, does it really matter at this point? If you're asking that question, what will happen to me? Then you're not understanding what would happen to the people who threw the tea off the boat back in 1773. You're not understanding what happened or what could have happened to the people who fought in 76 and all that stuff. You're not ready. So go over here and let us talk to the people who are willing to get in this fight. Because when you signed up and put the red hat on and voted for Trump to save America, guess what? You enlisted. And if you think for an instance, and even that much of an instant, if this kind of stuff continues and they're able to have their way, they're coming for you. You're not going to be able to say, you know what? I heard what Barry was saying. I heard what Charlie Kirk was saying. And I heard what, Benny Johnson was saying. And they were telling me to get in the fight and start screaming and talking about it. But, I didn't want to go that far. Too late. Too late. They got your voting records. Trump has already responded and coming hard at these people. Very hard at them because, you know what? He knows we're in a war. He knows what is at stake, even if you don't. Okay, where am I? Right here. Trump stripped security clearances from New York AG Letitia James. Let me stop right there. Why the hell does Letitia James and Alvin Bragg even have security clearances? Someone would have to explain that to me, why this witch would have a security clearance. Definitely have to explain to me why Alvin Bragg would have a security clearance. Trump has revoked security clearances from Alvin Bragg, Letitia James, and other anti-Trump figures, including ex-Secretary of State Anthony Blinken. Trump also banned them from all federal buildings, calling it a necessary step to protect national security from partisan operatives. The term, national security, just in case you're not aware, you're in the storm. The storm is here. We've talked about it for a long time. We're at war. You heard them declare war. Now you know you're in a war. You're in a war for your very livelihood and existence. Forget about your money. This is your way of life at this point. These people are trying to reach in and snatch out of your throat. Scary? I don't know. Go watch a cat video. Because that means you're not ready. Oh, Barry's saying we're not ready. Oh, he's being offensive and everything. No. I want fighters. Wake up. These people are trying to destroy you. I do not want to be in a hole with people who are terrified. Now understand, if you're retired or disabled, there's not much you can do, but I know you can pick up a phone. I know you can pick up a phone and text your senators, your congressmen, your newspaper, and scream from the top of your lung in capital letters. I know you can do that. You see how fast Trump has reacted. James and Bragg led high-profile lawfare cases against Trump. Blinken orchestrated the infamous Hunter Biden laptop. Other officials include Jake Sullivan, Lisa Monaco, Andrew Weissman, Mark Zaid, Norm Eisen. All these people were involved in lawfare. Trump previously cut off Biden's access to classified briefings, saying, I don't trust him. All done. Get out. None of you. You think it's going to end here? You think this is just going to be really easy at this point for things to happen? Is Barry talking too tough? No, I smell victory. Now I know, and I'm watching the moves Trump made. He understands. You don't think this was calculated? Remember I talked to you about the war room and the board and everything else and what they must be gaming out? They knew this was going to happen. You see, this is what we needed to see happen. We needed to flank them. We needed them to get to the point of desperation where they outed themselves. And so I'm saying within 48 to 72 hours, this is going to be in front of the Supreme Court. And I can almost imagine what the documents are going to be that Trump is going to file. And there's going to have to be something in these filings that say you can no longer have a undercourt do national injunctions against the president. Who the hell are you? You're a judge in a district court telling the president and the Secretary of State to destroy evidence. This is getting bad. But the good thing about it, and I think I mentioned it, I'm trying to refresh here my tweets. How do you enforce this? How possibly can you tell the president and the Secretary of the Treasury, nah, you guys can't do this and you got to shred and tear down everything? Make me. You don't have Merrick Garland. You don't have Lloyd Austin. You want a coup? Yeah, you might got one now. Because I would not be surprised. And it would terrify a bunch of people. I would not be surprised if we see military intervention. Because how are you gonna stop me? You see, we are in such uncharted territory, and I know they have their war room as well, because this is going to be fought out in the court of public opinion. This will never stand. This is why you're needed to get out there. Just think to yourself. When I was telling people, I'm like, hey, listen, just don't even bother filing taxes. And people are like, oh, I'm not a lawyer. Anyway, you don't want them to put me in jail. And my first question to them was, who's going to put you in jail? Who's going to make Trump do this? I don't know. I'm not a lawyer, but I'm pretty sure that Trump's going to tell this guy, go pound sand. What are you going to do? Call the police? How are you going to enforce it? What in the hell are you going to do? I have the military, I have the Department of Justice, and right now, yes, I do have the FBI, even though Kash Patel isn't been confirmed because I have an acting FBI director there. So everything you could use, the U.S. Marshals, I don't care who it is, you don't control. That's like making a threat to Mike Tyson, but you can't get in the ring and fight it. You know, Mike Tyson, you're not allowed to make me. That's where we are at this point. The line has been drawn. Frickin' make me. Who are you going to call? Oh, that's right. I run the CIA too. What are you going to call? The Mounties in Canada? Who are you going to call that's going to make me take Elon Musk out of this building? Think about it. Who's going to enforce this order? You know, what's funny as you look at these things, the New York Times wrote an article. And in this New York Times article, they actually talk about that because, you know, it makes sense. So here's the New York Times article, and it's, they're all happy. Judge halts access to Treasury payment systems by Elon Musk. And they're talking about it, and everything. And then it gets down to this paragraph that you guys can see. The situation could pose a fundamental test of America's rule of law. If the administration fails to comply with the emergency order, which I just read to you, it's unclear how it may be enforced. No, it's not. I'm going to clear it up for you. You can't. There are no digits you can call that is going to enable you to enforce this. CIA. I'm sorry, this is John Ratcliffe. Go pound sand. Hey, Department of Justice. Hi, this is Pam Boddy. Go pound sand. Got to be somebody we can call. Let's have the military going. Hi, this is Pete Hegseth. Go pound sand. Who are you going to call? Who is going to take that order and say they're going to walk into the Department of Treasury and say, you can't do this? So right now we're at a stalemate. New York Times says it. They know. I know. Now you know. Great. You made this order. It's a piece of frickin' paper. What are you going to do about it? Yes, it is a constitutional crisis. Yes, that's where you put us. If the administration fails to comply with the emergency order, it's unclear how it might be enforced. The Constitution says that a president shall take care that the laws be faithfully executed, but courts have rarely been tested by a chief executive who has ignored the orders. Federal officials have sometimes responded to adverse decisions with dawdling or grudging compliance. Outright disobedience is exceedingly rare. There has been no clear example of open presidential defiance of court orders since 1865. What was going on in 1865? Some of you guys weren't living then, I wasn't, but I'm pretty sure I know what was going on right about 1865 when certain things was happening. Yeah, we had a civil war and we had a president that was basically, I don't know if he was dead yet, but he was about to be dead. Abraham Lincoln. I should look that up. So you're telling me in nearly 200 years, we are in uncharted territory. Democrats don't surf. I love the smell of napalm in the morning. Smells like victory. You got nothing. You got absolutely nothing. Now you're going to hear the pundits on television, you're going to hear the lawyers, and you're going to hear MSNBC, and you're going to hear them all talking things about, we know this is a constitutional crisis. You knew it when you tried it. You knew exactly what was going to happen. You were trying to put Trump in a position where you could win this in a court of public opinion. But unfortunately, the public opinion is you. You now know without any doubt whatsoever, these people got nothing, but yet they're willing to do anything. That's very scary. That's very, very scary. They declared war. They tried to, storm the Department of Education the other day. Who's being violent? Who's protesting in the street? It's all them. Who wants Elon Musk to shred everything you've seen? Don't let anybody see. Okay. What are you going to do? You've at this point made a statement. You've threatened people. You've told them what is going to happen. You got to comply with this order. And at this point, seeing how Trump's already reacted, he didn't post anything on True Social yet, but seeing how he already reacted, come at me, bro. What you got? And so that tells me, with no uncertain terms, that the Democrats knew going in that they had absolutely no shot of this actually happening. But they had to take this shot to try and get other people to say, "Oh, look at Trump. He's defying court orders. He's doing this. He's doing that. He's such a bad boy." Now you rally. Now you got to get in the game. If you don't get in the game, you're telling everybody else you're not ready for the fight. That's where we are at this point. And, if you weren't sure about whether this thing had legs and what the Treasury Department was doing was legal, just listen to this.
I'm here with U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent in Washington. Mr. Secretary, thank you for joining me.
Good to see you.
Mr. Secretary, we are inside the cash room at the Treasury Department. It is almost impossible to overstate how important the work that is done in this building is to the U.S. financial system. Yet right now, there is widespread concern about the DOGE team's access to sensitive payment systems. Are you worried at all that access and that tinkering of the payment systems could affect the Treasuries market or cause any disruption?
Good. Well, Saleha, thank you for asking me about that, because there's a lot of misinformation out there. First of all, when you say the DOGE team, These are Treasury employees, 2 Treasury employees, one of whom I personally interviewed in his final round. There is no tinkering with the system. They are on read-only. They are looking. They can make no changes. It is an operational program to suggest improvements. So we make 1.3 billion payments a year, and this is 2 employees who are working with a group of long-standing employees.
The letter that the Treasury Department sent earlier this week.
Wait. If he had gone into court or had the opportunity to go into court, he could have told the judge that. Okay, sorry for wasting your time, Mr. Percent. Secretary Percent, please take my apologies. These people lied. There was your answer right there. Nobody's doing anything. They have read-only access. They can't do anything without my authority. So what did the court decide to do? Well, even you can't do it. I'm the Secretary of the Treasury. Yeah, but we don't even want you doing it. So shred and burn everything.
Talked about how the team currently does not have access to change the system. Have they at any point this year had the ability to make changes?
Absolutely not. This is no different than you would have at a private company. And by the way, the ability to change the system sits over at the Federal Reserve.
Oh, interesting. The Federal Reserve is the one who can change stuff. Interesting. Very, very, very interesting.
So it doesn't even lie in this building. So they could make suggestions on how to change the system, but we don't even run the system.
And if they ask for, if they request the ability to change the system, would you grant that?
No, again, they have no ability to change the system. I have no ability to grant that change. That they can make suggestions, then it would go to the Federal Reserve, and just like any large ERP system, there would be tests, there would be this, there would be that, and then the Fed will determine whether these changes are robust or not.
Wait. So, I'm confused. How did a judge, think about what I just read to you, the actual order. The judge says you need to destroy everything. And Scott Percent just said, I can't even touch it. This system is run by the Federal Reserve, and the Federal Reserve, which, by the way, is not, they're not elected either. Unelected people. You know how they kept saying, the unelected people are messing with the numbers. Yeah. Did you vote for Jerome Powell? Pretty sure you didn't. The Fed isn't even a governmental agency. And they control all the money. And no, you just can't go in and delete stuff.
The Secretary of Treasury, you also oversee the IRS. Do you know what kind of access the team has to IRS data or individual taxpayer data? Well,
I'm glad you asked that too, because look, the IRS, the privacy issue is one of the biggest issues. And over the past 4 years, we've seen a lot of leaks out of there. The IRS systems are quite poor. When I started in college in 1980, I learned the program in COBOL. I think there are 12 different systems at the IRS that still run on COBOL, but as of now, there is no engagement at the IRS.
And if they request that access, would you sign off on that request?
They haven't, so we'll take that when it comes to it. I think there is a lot to do there, but the president was elected with a big agenda, and to the extent that getting the IRS in better shape is part of that, sure. Because look, with the IRS, what am I concerned about? I am concerned about collections, I'm concerned about privacy, and I'm concerned that the system is robust, and customer service.
But do you think that if they ask for access, that is something you would consider signing off on?
There are a lot of things I would consider, but look, we're in the middle of the tax filing season right now. We even, with the government buyouts that expire at midnight tonight, we have mandated that the IRS customer-facing employees, that they're not eligible for that until May 15th. So I don't imagine anything's going to go on at the IRS until then or beyond.
What did he just say? I don't envision that anything is going to be going on at the IRS until at least May 15th, because we're going to deal with all these buyouts. At least May 15th. So as far as I'm concerned, Trump should come out and say, pump the brakes. Don't worry about the April 15th deadline. Chill. Because they're not going to do anything until at least May 15th. Interesting. Interesting. And then I had this other piece, because to dovetail off of that, this is Stephen Miller talking.
After this expires at midnight on Monday, this offer for 8 months of paid vacation at the end of this term, of their term, will it go to layoffs if people refuse to come back to the office? What comes next?
Well, of course, if people refuse to come back to the office, they're going to be laid off. I mean, why would federal taxpayers be subsidizing Netflix watching at home for so-called federal workers? In other words, how can you call yourself a federal worker if you never show up at the office? We have these giant cavernous office buildings in Washington, D.C., carved out of marble, stone, and granite in the Greek classical style, some of the most gorgeous buildings on earth. The taxpayers fund it, they pay for it, they upkeep, they provide electricity to, and no one's showing up. And what are they doing at home? Watching their favorite streaming shows? It's crazy. Of course they have to get back into the office because they work for everyone watching me today,
well, they've had a
and
very
watching
good
you today.
gigs.
Okay, so it's Saturday right now. If you're watching this on replay, I taped this on Saturday. Monday, in 2 days, 48 hours from now, is the deadline. All these people got to either come back to the office or they're fired. Which then the IRS has to do all the kind of stuff that Scott Dissent just said. And then, of course, the other guy in New York is saying you need to destroy all the Treasury records that somebody may or may not have seen. They want to throw the country into chaos. They want to make this all just blow up. Which makes you gotta wonder, at this point, what's in these records? This happened, yeah, USAID was one, and they didn't like that. And now we're finding out, hey, listen, now we're into FEMA, and now we're, going to go into Medicare, Medicaid, and all this stuff, and then we're going to go into the military, and we've got access to all these things, and oh, hey, shut it down. We can't let that happen because people will see what we've been stealing. And so you've exposed yourself at this point. Anybody with, again, as I say, a functioning frontal lobe can see, oh, something's really wrong here. Something's terrifying you people. You really don't want people to know what you've been doing. There are some people, who say part of 9/11 was because Rumsfeld couldn't account for $2 trillion in the defense budget. And where the plane hit actually took out all the accounting, which doesn't make any sense to me because I even have redundancy. My videos, when I put them up, they get downloaded to different places in the cloud. And you're telling me the Department of Defense had no redundancy? Everything was in that box. Boom, poof, gone. Sorry, can't find it. Woosah. My message to you today is they're done. I don't know how long it's going to take to sweep this up or put these people into a box or a cage, i.e. jail, but they're done. You just need to be into the fight to make sure everybody knows what you're seeing, what you're finding, what you're thinking, how you're feeling. You need to get out there. We're all in it at this point. We can see it. And it's just really interesting to me that they chose this Soros woman to come out here and be this figurehead again. Why is that interesting to me? Because I think They are trying to lay a landmine for Trump. And I think Trump's attorneys are going to be too smart for this. Let's get Letitia James in New York to do this. Because if he defies the order in New York, is there something hanging over his head in New York? What would Judge Merchan do? Say, hey, you broke our agreement. We got to put you in jail. They're desperate. They are desperate. They chose Letitia James to be the figurehead here in New York where Judge Merchan is. Every move that they make, I hope Trump has seen it in advance, and every move that they make leads them closer to doom. They are exposing themselves, and you'd have to be really a nut not to see it. I mean, nutty not to see what's going on. In fact, if you're a Democrat, if you're not screaming, no hope for you either. It tells me that you are hopelessly aligned with losers, treasonous, people who want the worst for our country. This isn't to help America. This is to not get themselves exposed at all. Let me go to a couple things that people have said here. This was what Charlie Kirk had to say. New York Judge Paul Engelmeyer just forbade all political appointees, including Secretary of Treasury Scott Bessent, from accessing Department of Treasury data, all based on blue anon conspiracy theories. Those theories couldn't be challenged because the order was ex parte, meaning nobody, as I said, the other side wasn't there. Only Democrat attorney generals were allowed to argue. The judge cites no law or logic to support his unprecedented order because it defies both. The judge's ruling, in essence, that Scott Bessent simply occupies a ceremonial position without real power like the King of England. You just told the Secretary of the Treasury, I don't care what you've been appointed as, you got to listen to me, a district court judge in New York. I own you, is what this guy is saying. Your position means nothing. This is a grenade thrown into the functioning of the Treasury Department. It forbids the elected government from accessing information about budget and finances. Instead, only the permanent deep state government can know what's being spent. Yes, it means Scott Bessent subordinates have far more power than he does. They work for him. They're okay. You just can't do anything. Democrat pundits who whine about the Constitution are liars and will shred it the first chance they get. For now, the order is only for the next week, but if a court tries to make it permanent, the Trump administration should absolutely consider defying it. Better yet, SCOTUS should bar this judge from ever hearing similar cases again, and every Democrat lawyer involved should be sanctioned. Forget sanctioned, just disbar. Just get rid of him. Now we're going to have to see the strength of the Supreme Court, because this is constitutional in a big way. Elon Musk, obviously, this ruling is absolutely insane. How on earth are we supposed to stop fraud and waste of taxpayer money without looking at how the money is spent? That's literally impossible. Something super shady is going on here to protect the scammers. You think so? That's like the understatement of understatements. Since we don't know how long this has been going on, we can only assume that it's been going on for quite some time. And because it's been going on for quite some time, we don't know, and we're starting to peel back the onion and find out who's really been running this country. Because this is who's terrified. Whoever it is in the shadows back there, way bigger than Obama. I know some people, it's Obama. No, hey, no, it's not Obama. There's some people back there who have been running this for decades, stealing your money. And they've placed these people in certain places, offices, strategically to take your money. And you were never supposed to find this out. There was never supposed to be a Doge. There was never supposed to be a President Trump. And now they're desperate. It's an OMG moment. Wow. The Trump administration should ignore this. Federal judges cannot construct a contractual entitlement to exercise authority on behalf of the United States government against the policy of its elected leaders. You can't possibly do that. Mike Engelman, for the 100th time, no district, circuit, or federal judge has the authority to pause or interfere with a president's constitutional duty and very legal authority. Defy the damn judges and remove them from the bench. So, Barry, if they know they don't have the authority, why are they doing this? So, playing that chess match, you have to know that they know that they're probably more than likely going to be overruled. Why would they even do this? Because it hopefully in their mind buys them some time. See, everything that Biden did or whoever had Biden do it, they knew they were going to get thrown out. Hey, we're going to just forgive student loan debt. You can't do that. Well, let's go ahead and go in the court system. And then 4 months later, he had already given back a gazillion dollars in loans. They play the clock. They played it, but fortunately for them, at the time, they ran the military, they ran the Department of Justice, so taking adversarial action like that, it was very hard for the Republicans, as weak as they are, to even do anything. There was no one they could call. This is a lot different, because now Trump can take a stand. And it does throw this into Supreme Court, because it's obviously constitutional in nature, and it is national security. So that time break that the Democrats always count on, hey, listen, we got this approved on Saturday, Trump probably can't get to the court until Monday or Tuesday, let's get in and shred all this stuff. It's like, oh, hey, wait a second, I've got military people lining the doors. Oh, didn't think about that, did you? Who are you going to call? You thought that these underlings who have been in the state bureaucracy, government bureaucracy, would step in and start hitting the delete button. Well, your order didn't give them the right to do that. And as you heard from Scott Dissent, that can't happen. And so as you put these pieces together, you have to think to yourself, well, who can actually get in and start shredding this stuff? No one. Legally. Are we going to see computer systems blow up or go on fire? Or we're desperate. These people are desperate. Don't put anything past them at this point. You are at storm level, coup level. Now it's desperation because they thought they could, insulate themselves with a period of time here before the Supreme Court gets it, because the wheels of justice go round and round and spin quite slowly. All right, type up the motion. Oh, get it over to the court on Monday morning. Hey, no, we don't got that kind of time. And you're seeing Trump on a Saturday afternoon. Bam, bam, bam. I guarantee you he's not done. So someone's probably going to go knock on the door of Clarence Thomas or Alito and say, we need something from you. You need to sign this real quick. This isn't going to go till Monday. And I would not be surprised. I hope it doesn't get there. I would not be surprised if we see military intervention before Monday or Tuesday. Because we're at that apex point. We are at that point where an ultimate game of chicken is getting ready to be played on a grand scale. You wanted a coup? Well, Democrats, you may have just put yourself into one. God help us all. I mean, seriously, this could be Kent State all over again. I understand those were National Guard, but now, if I were Trump, I would say, get out there, Pete, secure these buildings. Do whatever you need to do. Secure the Treasury, secure the Department of Education building, lock them all down. Until right now, it's a matter of national security. He already said that, right? Trump posted that. It's a matter of national security. And it is. It is a matter of national security. And so I would not be surprised. I would hate for it to happen. Really, I would hate for it to happen, because that tells you internally there's a civil war that's actually happening. And open your eyes. Absolutely open your eyes. And I'm not saying this because they're a partner. I'm saying this because shit's about to hit the fan epically. We're talking about the Department of Treasury. We're talking about the Federal Reserve. Those two things together could spell some serious problems if things go the wrong way. So if you're in a position, and I'm going to run it right here, but don't you think now, since you're hearing about this conflict that specifically involves money, your money, every bank in the country is dependent upon the Federal Reserve and the Treasury Department. And it's possible by Monday or Tuesday, that could be under martial law. Am I being overly dramatic? No. I just read to you an order by a rogue judge who told the Department of Treasury that the secretary, who's been confirmed by Congress, confirmed by law, that the president who was elected cannot access records of the Treasury. So if the top dogs in government can't access information about the Treasury, who can? Better think about it. As you know, President Trump has assembled the Avengers to make America great again. And of course, we're all excited and ready to see them get to work. But with everything we're seeing right now, don't take your eye off the ball. Things could get much worse before they get better. With the possibility of World War III still looming, and with the Democrats doing everything they can to impede Trump, you still need to keep your guard up and your money protected. Oh, and our national debt is still massively increasing. Don't get me wrong, I have high hopes for Trump's America, but I also have a family to look out for. You see, Trump and the Avengers have quite the uphill battle ahead. That's why I'm making sure I'm protected, and I'm recommending that you do the same. One way to be protected is by diversifying your portfolio. That's why on this channel I've been happy to partner with Lear Capital. As you know, I've been involved in real estate for quite some time. And although I dabbled in gold and silver, Kevin and his staff at Lear have helped to educate me even further, especially in regards to silver. Give Lear a call today and they'll show you how easy it is to move some of your savings or your retirement account into gold and silver. Gold and silver have been proven to hold value and protect wealth for the long term. Call Lear today at 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com to get your free gold and silver wealth protection guides. There's no obligation, just free information. Many of you have seen my interviews with Lear founder Kevin Demerit, and I can tell you this company is solid and likes to educate their customers. Just so you know, Lear has over 27 years of experience, thousands of 5-star reviews, and over $3 billion in trusted transactions, and is the only company with a 24-hour risk-free purchase. You don't pay unless you're 100% satisfied. So call 800-601-5430 or go to learberry.com. And when you call, don't forget to ask how you can get up to $15,000 in bonus gold or silver with a qualifying purchase. So if you'd like to take advantage of this opportunity, please call my friends at Lear Capital at 800-601-5430 and tell them Barry sent you. You know, there's nobody, including myself, that wants to see what's happening right now and what the result could be and what needs to be done that could negatively affect this country. Saw this by Mike Cernovich. I don't want the country to be in a situation where the president ignores federal court orders. That is what these activist judges are forcing us into. They are making stuff up to try to get Trump and stop him from governing. this can't stand. That's what's happening. It's not us. It's reactionary. It's like, hey man, you can't possibly think we're just going to sit back and let you do this. You know, you tried to say the whole thing on January 6th and how you wanted it all over again. Well, you're about to get it. You're messing with people's livelihoods. And now we know to what extent you've been messing with people's livelihoods. It's starting to get out there. It's starting to get out there. The American taxpayer has a pretty valid argument to not pay their taxes this year. Yeah. Unfortunately, for too many people, their taxes are taken directly out of their paycheck by their employer. So they have no say unless they learn how to file the form correctly, which I'm not going to give anybody any advice, but you can probably talk to somebody if your company would allow you to change your form. Some say, oh, you can only change it once a year. What kind of crock is that? If I want to change my exemptions, I'm going to change my exemptions. I'm sorry if you have to get in there and do a couple of edits, but you're holding my money. It's not your money. So if I want to change the exemptions on my, W-4, I'm going to do that. Glenn Beck popped in. Let me see if I have this right. The Treasury Secretary cannot access any data from the Treasury. Who is afraid of the secrets coming out? This judge was not elected, nor was he given the mandate by the people. Enough is enough. We the people demand transparency. It is our money, not yours. Our money. You see, a lot of people are going to wake up now and go, wait a second. Oh, yeah, I understand. Oh, you're messing with my money now? Yep. Yeah, they're messing with your money. You got a 401k? All that stuff at this point. I don't want to scare you, but who accesses and has control of your bank accounts? The desperation is at 11. We're not at 10 anymore. We're at 11. They are going to do anything and everything. They can't allow all this information to come out. There's just what we've been seeing. It's like, oh my God. Tens of billions and hundreds of billions of your money over the last couple of years has been doled out to all kinds of stupid things. So is this the hill that the Democrats are going to die on? This is the hill they have to die on. They don't have any choice. Everything that they've done has led to this moment right here where the awakening is finally happening. I mentioned it yesterday. You are on the sailboat in the Truman Show as it has now crashed into the wall. None of us knew it was bad, and none of us knew it was this bad. And now we're all looking like, what the hell has been going on? How do you think they're going to react? How do they keep us under control at this point? Have you thought about that? Right now, we're just looking at different rebellious moves. People are like, hey, man, should I be paying taxes? Should I give these people more money? They haven't explained what they've done with this. Is it possible that maybe we don't do this? Well, hey, they can hear it. They're seeing it and go, hey, man, people are getting a little antsy here. Oh, yeah. Some of you guys who are waiting for returns, good luck. Just saying, we have no idea at this point. What this judge has done is basically locked out the president and the secretary of Treasury. I don't think it's going to work, but he in essence, he talk about big balls. This dude had the balls to tell the president and the Treasury secretary, you can't access these systems. Let that sink in. You're worried about your 401k and your safety deposit box and your money, and the president of the United States was told you can't come in here and look? I'm not trying to scare you. But the poop is hitting the proverbial fan quickly. Barry, you have called this step by step the whole way. I'm not a Svengali and I don't have a crystal ball, but I could see that crazy stuff was about to happen. I didn't even know about all this USAID stuff. Did not know. But I knew, I kept seeing the unraveling of the Democrat Party, and it was getting worse and worse and worse. And now it's blown apart. There is no Democrat Party. All they are pawns in some sort of scheme. They don't have, I mean, you watch them. They're trying to storm different buildings. They don't have any idea what to do at this point. They staff their entire Democrat Party with morons. AOC, moron. Jasmine Crockett, I wouldn't hire her to work in a Waffle House. Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, none of them have any idea what the hell they're talking about. And these are their elected officials who they hoped would, keep everybody in place. Notice you haven't heard peep from Nancy Pelosi. Some of the older ones who've been around for a while are now going, let me step into the background here. Let me fade back. So I've got a whole bunch of stuff to show you with these I don't know who has it, lefties losing it. I called it Libnuts losing it. Because they're trying to defend what you've been seeing. And people, are you crazy? How do you possibly defend this? And now I think we're at a point where they can no longer defend it. Send in the U.S. Marshals to arrest the judge. It's getting crazy. Time to invest in precious metals of the lead variety. Somebody said I shouldn't have insulted the Waffle House. Oh, that was a good one. Yeah, let's not insult the Waffle House. Yeah, I wouldn't let her take my order. Lefties losing it, Rita. Okay, that's who it is. The Sky News Australia. Yeah, it's so bad that they have a whole series of lefties losing it because these people are complete nuts, and people can sit back and go, "This is crazy stuff here. This is crazy stuff." Nancy's been in the penalty box for losing the election. It's pretty bad when John Fetterman looks like he might be the leader of your party. I'm just saying. Someone tell me, please, I'm in Carrollton, Georgia. Who do I call? I'd start with Brian Kemp. I would call Tim Burchett. I believe he's in Georgia. I believe Marjorie Taylor Greene is in Georgia. Yeah. Start calling them and go, what the hell is going on here? Light it up. Light it up, whatever state you're in, and let people know you're over this. Do what you got to do. Throw these people in jail. Lock them up. I don't care. Remember, on January 6th, they didn't have any problem locking up grandmas. And now we see this stuff happening? It's crazy. Can you claim 9 if you file single? I don't know, and I wouldn't tell you because I wouldn't want you to come back to me or somebody say I was giving tax advice. But you know what? You can probably call a few people and say, what can I do to reduce my tax withdrawal every 2 weeks? Should I pay taxes this year? That's a decision you are going to have to make. Do you feel comfortable paying taxes? Do you feel comfortable if you don't pay taxes? What may happen? So that decision is going to be an individual basis. And one of the things that people have to rely on, number one, pray about it. Number two, are these people being good stewards with your money? 3, do you believe that there may be criminal activity occurring with the funds that you give to the government? And you take all that into accountability. And then 4th, on the backside is, what happens if I don't? What's my liability if I don't? And a lot of people get stuck there. And then the next question I would say to people at that point, once you're stuck in number 4, I could get in trouble. The next question is, who's coming after you? Who's controlling the IRS right now? See, those are the questions that I would ask myself and saying, okay, so what's President Trump going to do about all this? People are starting to feel a little shady about our government. It's not constitutional, will never hold up. I doubt it will either, but the problem was they can go in your account and take your money. Not without a garnishment order, so they'd have to get a court order. But before they went to that level, they would have to be told by their boss to continue going after you. There's not an IRS agent sitting there and going, hey, let's look at Fred's account. Oh, no. There has to be a process. They have to be told to do this. And right now they're down about 87,000 people. So I don't know who Trump appointed at that point. It's crazy. Trump is going to get rid of the IRS. This is, I'm not an attorney, but that might be the answer. That might be the answer. The answer might be, let's wait. Let's file an extension, completely legal. Let's see what happens. I need to file an extension. I forget how long of an extension you get, but file an extension. And that way you can just sit back and watch the fireworks, see what happens, see where this country goes. All these years kept in the dark and fed, where'd that go? And fed crap. Yeah. Now that is some big ball worked in a lawyer's office. Barry is right. Yeah. Start talking to people. Barry, you remember these words? Give Caesar, was his Caesar sorry misspelled? No, I know what you're saying, but you got to finish what is said. I believe the exact words are give Caesar what's due Caesar. Right? Doesn't it say that? Give unto Caesar? Let me look that up for those of you who are swayed by the biblical ramifications. I'm pretty sure there's another half of that. Unto Caesar verse. Okay, yeah, we can go ahead and bring that up. Okay. Give to Caesar what is his, and give to God what is his. So that second part of that is, how do you know what Caesar is due? How do you know what the government is due? That's the part you got to pray on. Because right now, I think they owe us a whole lot more. You've been stealing and stealing and stealing to the point of billions, tens, hundreds of billions of dollars have been stolen from the American people. What is due to Caesar when they've been stealing from you for who knows how long? Who knows how long that has been going on? We still don't know. Decades? More than like a few decades? I don't know. But we now know it's happening. It's definitely happening. SV is texting me. Let me see what this Okay, thank you. I can't get into my messages, SV, right now. I'm not sure why. But understand that everything. You're in the Truman Show. Everything you've been taught, everything you relied on, everything that has been drilled into your head about the government has just been found out to be completely false. You gave unto the government because you thought they were doing the right thing. But they haven't. But you got to do you. There's no way that anybody else can tell you what you need to do. It's that bad. Somebody said Elon posted on X again. Let's see what I got. If I can pull up Elon, what has he posted? All right, so Elon is swinging back. Okay, he's gone twice here. Let me pull two things. He reposted something, and then he posted something on his own. So the thing he reposted was this. He reposted update. Elon Musk says FEMA's potentially illegal payments will now be paused for review. Biden's FEMA gave $1 billion to NGOs who were focused on facilitating newcomers. This, in addition to the use of FEMA money meant for Americans suffering from disasters to fund luxury hotels for newcomers. Notably, FEMA funneled money to the Red Cross. Don't ever give to the Red Cross. Don't ever give to the Red Cross. To assist newcomers in getting to the U.S.-Mexico border, literally providing them maps to get to entry points, and that's just scratching the surface. Many corrupt officials are sweating right now. Ouch. The number, and I don't know over what period of time, but that was, well, Biden. So over the last 4 years, Biden gave $1 billion to FEMA under the guise of helping Americans in disasters, when essentially it was going all to newcomers so they could stay in luxury hotels. And now this is what Elon has said in regards to what this mess has become. To be clear, what the Doge team and U.S. Treasury have jointly agreed makes sense is the following. Require that all outgoing government payments have a payment categorization code, which is necessary in order to pass final audits. This has frequently left bank making audits almost impossible. Not by accident, I guarantee you. I guarantee you they didn't assign codes, didn't have categories, so specifically you wouldn't be able to trace it. All payments must include a rationale for the payment in the comment field, which is currently left blank. Again, intentional. Importantly, we are not yet applying any judgment to this rationale, but simply requiring that some attempt be made to explain the payment more than nothing. The do not pay list of entities known to be fraudulent or people who are dead and probable fronts for terrorist organizations or do not match congressional appropriations must actually be implemented and not ignored. So the lawsuit that the attorney generals went and said you can't even look at that, but they're dead or they're terrorist organizations or we've already known they're fraudulent. Don't look. Don't even mention. What? You want payments to continue to fraudulent, possible terrorist organizations and or dead people? How are the dead people getting the money? If I wire, number one, how do they still have an account? but if I wire money to a dead guy, how is the dead guy withdrawing the money? And we've been sending money to dead people, which means that money should still be in the bank. And it should be easy to see if it's not, who took it. You know, because dead guys can't go make withdrawals. You don't see dead guys driving through the drive-thru. I don't think. So if the dead guys are getting money and the money is being withdrawn, I mean, there's cameras, there's all kinds of things in a bank, there's signatures. Who took the money from the dead guy? Who took the money that was allocated to the fraudsters? Who took the money that was allocated to the terrorists? Oh, you don't even want us looking. My bad. I thought this was a government agency. Also, it can take a year to get on this list, which is far too long. This list should be updated weekly, if not daily. So we're sending money to people who have been deemed terrorists or happen to die, or we know that they're fraudulent in January, but we keep sending it for a whole year because it takes that long for us to update the system. The above super obvious and necessary changes are being implemented by existing long-time career government employees, not for anyone from Doge. It is ridiculous that these changes didn't exist already. Yesterday I was told there are currently over $100 billion per year of entitlement payments to individuals with no social security number or even a temporary ID number. Let that sink in. Remember what they were bitching about the last couple days. These guys in Doge have access to social security numbers. That, they can see, into your private data. That's not what you were worried about. What you were worried about is that there's over $100 billion a year going to individuals with no social security number to be checked. No temporary ID number. Just $100 billion a year. For how many years? $100 billion a year. You shouldn't look at that. Okay. When I asked anyone at the Treasury who had a rough guess for what percentage of that number is unequivocal and obvious fraud, the consensus in the room, guessing consensus, was about $50 billion a year or $1 billion per week. This is utterly insane and must be addressed immediately. And then Elon further says, nobody in Treasury management cared enough to even look. I do want to credit the working level people in Treasury who have wanted to do this for many years, but have been stopped by prior management. Everything at the Treasury was geared towards complaint minimization. People who receive money don't complain, but people who don't receive money, especially fraudsters, complain very loudly. So the fraud was allowed to continue. But you don't want Scott Bessent or Trump seeing this, because you don't want people to know about this. Let me just tell you, it's too late. if Elon knows it, Trump knows it. You don't even know how long Elon's actually been working on this. You don't know what the algorithm. Put it this way. I would venture to say that these people are such morons, such idiots, because they don't understand how AI works. They probably still have fax machines in their offices. And still probably have, much of them have AOL emails. They don't understand how AI works. Those of you who have used Grok, very, very minimalist AI, it works very good. You can actually put something in, the hardest question you can imagine, and within 30 seconds, it'll pull up the data. So you've got the best of the best of the best of these savants who are writing all kinds of algorithmic code to search the databases. And I would venture to say that the information that they're querying comes back within, depending on the size of the query, 15 minutes to know everything. And you're saying, and your stupidity of your order. Let me just tell you how stupid your order is. Your order saying destroy everything that you've had right now. Don't hold on to any of the data. Do you understand what AI is? If it's on the internet, it stays on the internet, moron. This isn't something in some back office that you're feeding into a shredder. There is no way you are going to stop this information from getting out. That's something, at this point, the Democrats need to suck on. If it's been found, it's available. There's people in our threads here, our chats, who are so weirded out about AI. And I understand some of their trepidation because it's new. It don't know what really could happen. Well, think about that trepidation in the hands of people who write the frickin' code for it and what they can tell the AI to do. I don't know. I'm not a coder, but I'm pretty sure you can say, and whatever you find, make sure you route this to a computer in Switzerland and then have it bounce off another computer in Vietnam and then have another computer bounce off in Belarus. Oh, let's go ahead and delete everything you found. It's 2025, moron. That data is in so many places right now, you have no idea. And it's accessible at the click of a frickin' button. So, if you're concerned that something's been found and you want to stop Trump and Elon from disseminating it, too late. Way too late. I'm pretty sure they've already got the Department of Defense information. I'm pretty sure, as you just saw, they have FEMA. They have the Medicare. They already know. You are moving at the snail's pace of Democrat mindset. By the time he got in there, probably between 24 and 48 hours, they had all the systems in place. If these kids have been working for 3 or 4 weeks, you're effed. I'm telling you right now. You too, Judge. You too. Because right now, there's probably somebody's writing an algorithm to look at you, Judge. They're going to find everything. All it takes is a little chunk of data, and then you data mine and match it up, and they're going to know everything about you. If there's one thing the deep state has shown us, is that they data mine everything. They know what's on your phone. They know what television shows you're watching. They know what you had for dinner. They know what you used your credit card for. So what are you doing telling people to destroy what you found? Because everybody who needs to know already knows. And you don't know who knows. That's where the good part is. You don't know who knows what they know. All right, I'm done scaring you. Okay. We're in a war that these people don't even know how to fight. We are in a war where the weaponry is so amazing that they can't even comprehend the weaponry. You think Letitia James knows? Hell no. You think Alvin Bragg knows? No. You guys are laughing at 19 and 21-year-old kids, right? You think they're stupid, right? I wouldn't be surprised if some pictures and stuff just started showing up in places. Some information about you just started showing up in places. Don't get me started. I'm telling you. Go after Letitia. It's far from scary, Barry. I want more. I want more. Here's what I would tell these people. You have spent the better part of 7 years trying to take down somebody you couldn't take down. You did everything. You guys know the story. You know, they tried everything, including July 13th. You don't think this guy has been working on his plan all this time? Really? You think he just got elected and showed up on inauguration day? All right, what's next? What do we got to do? We got to change the voicemail? Should we need to change that? How about letterhead? We need to change the letterhead? Who changes the letterhead? Seriously? Like I've been saying, I love the smell of napalm in the morning, because y'all just got napalm the F out. And napalm in the morning smells like victory.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
And I know some of you are probably saying, Barry, how can you be saying we're winning when all this stuff keeps happening? I said winning. Winning. I did not say we've won. You see, we're a long way away from being the final, the clock runs out. We haven't won. We're winning. There's always time for your opponent to come back. I am never going to get complacent and go, it's over. I've said the Democrats are dead. I've said the Democrat Party is dead. Because that's not our opponent. See, our opponent has yet to be revealed. Our opponent is what concerns me. Because I don't know who this opponent is. You don't know who this opponent is. It has this name associated that we call the deep state. SV said turn on slow mode. It has this name called, quote, the deep state. But the thing with this thing called the deep state is it doesn't have a uniform, doesn't have a flag, doesn't have a face. There's no way for us to know who this is. So it's very hard to fight something when you don't know what it is. So when I say the Democrats have been vanquished, the Democrats are dead meat, they don't mean anything. They're an archaic wreckage sitting by the side of the road with vultures eating off the carcass. That's not your opponent. Your opponent is who's back there. Because the people back there have shown us at this point that they are quite formidable. How do I know this? Because tens and hundreds of billions of dollars have gone vaporized right under our noses. That's not Democrats doing that. I haven't seen a single Democrat stand up in any way, shape, or form in Congress who has shown me they have the capability of executing what we've seen. These systems that they put in place, where they funneled this money, all these NGOs, that didn't happen in the last 4 years. These 55,000 to 1.5 million NGOs where money was being flown all around, that just didn't happen under the Biden administration. It's been going on, as you know, for decades. Even Trump, when his first presidency, he didn't know. So now we're starting to see and going, yeah, there ain't no Democrat set this up. Or at least not a Democrat politician. Maybe a Democrat in who they are. They may have no allegiance. They may be Republican or Democrat. They don't matter. Their only allegiance is to power. And of course, money. Don't know who they are. We may be finding out soon, but it's not who you think it is. Does someone know why Trump didn't ignore that judge? Didn't say he didn't yet. He may be. He may indeed be ignoring him. We do not fight against humans, but against principalities. You're absolutely right. Global governments, maybe the power of the WEF members, those who didn't want Donald Trump in the Oval Office. Yeah. It's crazy. SV, I went ahead and put slow mode on, so you're good in that regard. All right. So let me get to showing you how these nuts are absolutely losing it, because they are losing it. And as you hear the weakness of some of these arguments, you'll see for yourself. But first, let's see how some Republicans are now responding.
Nervous and reticent to come here and speak just for retaliation purposes. I just wanted to share some things that are going on at my age.
I forgot. I got a couple nuts I want to show you. I forgot that's how it started. So this guy, I got to say it. This cuck decides to show up at a town hall meeting somewhere in the vicinity of Virginia, and he's upset because Elon Musk and his bad big ball guys have showed up, and they've taken over things and they're doing things. Then please help me because my nipples hurt and stuff. I don't know what to do. Dude. We obviously know you don't have big balls. I mean, you whiny little cuck.
I was nervous and reticent to come here and speak just for retaliation purposes. I just wanted to share some things that are going Supervisors are being told not to tell their staff anything, withhold information. And today we got word that supervisors must now fill out a justification form, and that there's going to be just a 30% rank and yank of all staff in my agency. And to top it all off, one of the most top lieutenants and his wife and young child have shacked up on the 6th floor of our agency and are living there. The hallway's been blocked off with a special access list for people who can't get back there. Queer and trans folks of my agency are being doxxed in public. Their lives threatened.
Hey everyone, guess what? Elon Musk called me a dick today on Twitter. He's upset that I had the temerity to demand that he testify before the United States Oversight Committee and explain to the American people why he's blocking payments. Let me be clear. If I have to be the biggest dick in Congress, I will be if it means standing up for the Constitution and the American people.
So MAGA has infiltrated the National Endowment for the Arts. It was bound to happen, but here we go. So some of the grants have been canceled, and some of the grant deadlines have been pushed back because they need to accommodate new guidelines. And some of these guidelines include the NEA would like to support and encourage projects that celebrate the nation's rich artistic heritage by honoring the semi-quincentennial of the United States of America, America 250. Funding priority will be given for projects that take place in 26-27 that celebrate and honor the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence. This is the National Endowment for the Arts grants. These are grants that organizations from all over the country apply for in the hopes of getting funding for their projects. 99.9% of projects out there are not going to be about the Declaration of Independence. They're going to be celebrating like cultural heritage or, organizations that support LGBTQ BIPOC people or women in music. This is literal insanity. This is that MAGA patriotism on crack that is literally infiltrating the heart of our country right now. And now it's going to be affecting me because I work for an arts nonprofit and we subsist on a lot of this funding. And now we have to come up with projects that like honor the signing of the Declaration of Independence. That's not stuff that we do. This is literal insanity, you guys. And if you voted for this, your members of your community and like the concerts that you like to go see in your small town or your big town are going to be affected by this. This is literal insanity, and if you voted for this, like literally, actually, f*** you. Like f*** you if you voted for this.
I think she's upset with us. The first guy was complaining because, he's having to defend what he does, which when you look at him, you realize what he was saying tells you, that's who you got in the Treasury Department? And they're upset because they got moved out? Okay. And then the second guy is a member of Congress who decided he was going to put out a video because Elon Musk called him a dick. And he thought that video was appropriate to put out defending himself looking like a dick. And then the third lady, as you heard, works at the Endowment for the Arts, another nonprofit that gets your money. So she's your employee, telling you the fact that she's using and spending your money, you can go after yourself if you voted for Donald Trump. Instead of saying thank you, she said go after yourself because her friends that are Transformers or Alphabet Mafia or BIPOC or whatever label you want, they're upset because, oh my God, they might have to talk about the Declaration of Independence, the flag, the 250th birthday. These people did not orchestrate what we're seeing right now. None of them have the intellectual capacity to set up this network of theft that you're witnessing right now. Listen how Glenn Beck explains it.
It's insane. And anybody who is trying to, say this is good, that USAID shouldn't have been shut down, or these kids. I swear to you, play the big balls thing. Excuse that expression, like you're let me clutch my pearls. I just never heard big balls before. The CNN people were very, very offended by big balls. It's an online name of one of these guys who's working with Doge. Listen to how they try to smear him and really create something that's not a problem. Listen to this.
So this is a 19-year-old high school graduate who has used the unfortunate nickname Big Balls online. So that would be one way that we could refer to him. He is now working at Musk's behest inside Doge. And we looked into his background. And so we found...
Oh, boy.
Several notable things, Aaron, one of which is that this individual has founded multiple companies, including one with another unfortunate name, Tesla.sexy LLC, which he established in 2021.
Oh, no.
He would have been around 16 years old. This LLC controls dozens of web domains.
Yeah. So a kid, I just want you, America, we've seen that billions of dollars of your tax dollars have just been wasted and spent on things you didn't know about. We're going against the national interest. We're going into the hands. You just paid $1.4 billion that we know of in the first 2 weeks. $1.4 billion went to NGOs to transport people from their homes in South America to the border. $1.4 billion. Your tax dollars. But you should know that one of the kids that found that, when he was 16, he started his own company called Tesla.sexy LLC. I mean, what? He was probably raping children in the back seats of those Teslas. We don't know, but it's probably nefarious. He's 16. And what they can find on him was he started an LLC. Tesla.sexy. Wow, they got the goods on these guys. Now, that was 3 years ago, because he's 19 now, and he only has a high school education. I mean, does Elon Musk even know that his online screen name was Big Balls? Probably why they hired him.
If you haven't seen it yet, Alex Jones put together a video. I've seen probably 4 or 5 music videos. I can't play them here because the song is copyrighted, but the AC/DC song Big Balls, people have now turned it into a meme, and they've put videos and animations and everything to the song. The reason I'm playing this is, like Glenn Beck said, and I said it yesterday, these are not people who are the brightest tools in the shed. There's no way that they could put this together. None. The only thing you could talk about, or actually, you couldn't talk about the $1.52 billion that they found, but you want to talk about the kid's screen name. That's all they have, the screen name. All of this stuff that we're seeing, they have completely ignored, as though it never, ever happened.
These are adults having this conversation. And as I said just a few minutes ago, we've seen this every Saturday morning. It's called Scooby-Doo, okay? Every Sunday morning, every Saturday morning when we were growing up, what happened? They unmasked the villain, and they said, this is who it is. And then the villain looks and says, and I would have gotten away with it if it wasn't for those pesky kids. Right? That CNN just reenacted an episode, every episode of Scooby-Doo.
The public is...
Ruh-roh. Oh, Shaggy. Ruh-roh, Shaggy. They're a laughing stock. They're an absolute laughing stock. Daryl Issa, congressman from California, just put this up. I am immediately introducing legislation next week to stop these rogue judges and allow Trump and Doge to tell you where government is spending your money. Congratulations, Representative Issa. The problem is, why wasn't it done a long time ago? Why do you people always on the backside of things? I'm happy that you realize things are screwed up, but why wasn't this taken care of? Why not take this to the Supreme Court? Forget legislation. Let the Supreme Court finally say you lower court judges can no longer do this. Yes, I'd love to see you codify it, but who knows?
Aware of the mismanagement, the improper payments,
what about the Department of Education? Now, I don't know that much about it, but I've never read good things. Yeah. Rahm Emanuel, who I agree with on almost everything, here was a quote. He said, a third of 8th graders can't read, and now he wants to close the department? And I thought, that's probably why they can't read. Or at least partly. I mean, the numbers keep getting worse and worse and worse. And I don't know if the Department of Education is anything it doesn't really, I don't know what it does, except take money. It's sort of a middleman. It doesn't run classrooms or do stuff like that. I don't think it makes policy. So where are you on something like that?
I think that the Department of Education has to essentially be closed. A lot of the authorities got to get sent back to the states. The dollars we appropriate actually need to go directly into the hands of parents so that they can use those resources in their states and in their communities to find the best outcome for their children. When the Department of Ed was created in 1977, our reading scores and math scores for kids 4th and 8th grade were higher than they are today. No. So it's not worked.
I mean, I read this, I'm stealing this from Nellie Bowles' column, but in the Michigan, the contract from the teachers union says, you cannot be fired for getting caught drunk as a teacher until you do it for a 5th time.
What?
Yeah, the first 4 times, you're good.
They didn't take the Pete Hegseth vow.
Counseling.
I will stop drinking when I start the job.
And also, if you're caught selling drugs twice, that's when we fire you. The first time, you're good.
That's insane.
I mean, it is insane.
Yeah, it is.
So it's not like there isn't insanity that has to be addressed. And it's not like the kids are getting smarter.
Do you guys?
He just said that the Department of Education was created in 1977. That's probably under the Carter administration. Good job, Jimmy. 1977. So that would make it, almost, 40 years. And in that 40 years, there has been not any improvement in our student ability to read, write, and do math. It slid. So what we have done, or what somebody has done, and they realized they had a cash cow, is they could use this as another slush fund because it was never tied to performance. If it was tied to performance, you wouldn't be 40 years of sliding. You would see at least a stabilization in reading, writing, and arithmetic. But no, it's a downward slope. Did kids just, stop learning? Did kids stop having the capacity to learn? No. And I know there's a lot of people who are teachers. Ashley was a teacher. My niece was a teacher. Robin's niece is a teacher. A lot of teachers. We all know them. Some of the teachers I've talked to have become very, 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 very frustrated. Matter of fact, the two that on my side of the family, or not my side, but Ashley and my niece, are no longer really in the teaching profession because of what they saw and how things have become. So why would teachers be leaving the teacher's profession while the kids are still stuck in the same system? Because they realize at this point, everything they've seen, it's not working. Yet somehow they get billions and billions of dollars of your money. But the scores go down. The kids can't read. The kids can't graduate to the point where they have to lower the standards so they have the appearance of graduating, as though they've gotten smarter. No, we'll just don't fail anybody. But he can't read. Just don't fail him. Just put him to the next grade. And so the kid goes from 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th grade, and he graduates from grammar school, and he can't friggin' read. That's not where we should be spending our money whatsoever.
I think the Democrats are going to lose people over their opposition to Doge. Like, is Doge really viewed as oppositional to Democrat Party interests for the average person?
It's a Rorschach test. I think the thing is that there was a coalition that the Democrats had, and there was a coalition that the Republicans had. The Republicans did a better job of reforming that coalition. And now I think what you're going to see is a shrinking. I actually got this totally wrong. I don't know if you remember a couple years ago, but my thought at the time was if the Republicans don't figure out how to fix themselves, they were going to go and lose for the next 10 or 15 years. And the reason I said that was they would walk into every midterm and they would just get their ass handed to them. But I think they figured it out, that this is sort of this thing that I've been thinking about a lot is there's a fight in Western societies, and it's a pendulum, between labor and capital. And it used to be the thought, the conventional wisdom was that the Republicans were pro-capital and Democrats were pro-labor. And the brilliance of Trump is he took over the Republican Party and made it totally populist, which is to say pro-labor. And the crazy thing about the Democrats is that they are the most sophisticated liars. Because if you look at what happened under Biden, you had record high stock markets. So it was purely in favor of asset owners. Record high deficits, record high illegal immigration, record high wage suppression. All of these things are massively pro-capital, but they tried to present themselves as pro-labor. That entire ruse is now being undone. And all of this data, what that does is it'll consolidate the Democrats to a shell of their former self. It'll take a year or 18 months. But I think unless they figure out how to totally hard reset, they're going to be in a really difficult struggle to find a cohort of people beyond 15 or 20% of the population for a long time.
Joining us. Now just imagine that. Democrats have so screwed up. And if you haven't never watched that podcast, that's the All In podcast with 4 or 5 billionaires that talk about what they see. I put credence into it because I've watched them do their businesses, so I understand what they're saying. And many of them were Democrats. You see, Democrats are now seeing that this doesn't make any sense. You're going to be lost for quite some time. I like what Billy Paxton says here. The Board of Education was a campaign promise made by Carter to the largest union in the country, the teachers union. Even Democrats at that time did not like the idea. And it has become nothing more than a cash cow for them ever since. And they just steal money. Everything. Now that you're seeing all this stuff, you can now realize and understand that what the Democrat Party is. It is a slush fund for the deep state. That doesn't matter who the politicians are. You can just put one in, put one out. Doesn't matter. Even these new ones that you see coming in, like Jasmine Crockett, AOC, Rashida Tlaib, the bald head one that you're going to see in a little while. Doesn't matter. They just keep getting put in for whatever reason, however they're put in, and they echo what needs to be echoed, and they allow and facilitate the stealing of money. They don't have to be successful. They get paid off. How the hell is AOC worth what she's worth at this point? She's a bartender. No relative. You're complaining about these kids who are writing algorithms, and you're a freaking bartender? Nobody said back then, hey, listen, she's a bartender. Why would we be voting for a bartender? Although, some of the bartenders I've worked with and talked to are some very, very smart people. She's not one of them. And so now I'm seeing the Republicans are starting to talk about this, at least some of them, and let their constituents and others know, hey, listen, these people are scum. And all they're doing is stealing your money.
Now, Nancy Mace, South Carolina Congresswoman and House Oversight Committee member. Congresswoman, President Trump weighed in on what he saw and we all saw today. Watch.
What did you think when you saw Democratic lawmakers trying to get into the Department of Education earlier today?
Well, I see the same ones. I see Maxine Waters, a lowlife. I see, all these people. They don't love our country. They don't love our country.
Congresswoman, if this was reversed and a male conservative congressman was yelling in the face of a female security guard during a Democrat administration, what do you think the reaction would be?
Oh, there would be outrage by everyone in the leftist media, the legacy media. It would be all over the internet, that kind of propaganda. But it's not, right? Because they hate Donald Trump so much. They hate what he's doing. They hate our country. And we're seeing this in real time right before our eyes, how disloyal they are to the American people. They are literally losing it, melting down, tears every day on TikTok and all these different apps and X and Twitter and all the social media. And I can't tell you, I wake up every day and I just laugh. Somebody give them a bigger microphone, a bullhorn, keep screaming it, because we're going to win big in the midterms if they keep it up.
Well, Congresswoman, going back to the USAID, which was a brilliant place to start for DOJ, you've been documenting this for a long time in Congress, but I call it USAID deleted, okay? USAID deleted. Get rid of it because the rot runs so deep that you can't reconstitute it. It shouldn't be reconstituted. A lot of these agencies could be wrapped into other bigger departments, as will happen here in the State Department. And I think, getting rid of the sign, just this symbolically, this is the people's money. This isn't Nancy Pelosi's money, and it's certainly not, Maxine Waters' money.
Right. And you have to ask yourself, why is the left, why are all these Democrats having such a meltdown over exposing the waste, the fraud, and abuse within these government programs, within USAID, and how bad it is? And so, you look at it and you see, thank goodness that Donald Trump did get elected. We wouldn't know that this was going on. I don't have enough staff to do that kind of research. And thank goodness Elon Musk has a team of people through DOJ. It's incredible. And I just uncovered the other day, over $10 million spent on making animals trans. And so it's just, what is going on here? But it's this information is being exposed to the American people, and I am so grateful for it. So grateful for Donald Trump.
Well, President Trump has given Musk and company some new marching orders. Watch.
You're going to find a lot, and I've instructed him to go check out education, to check out the Pentagon, which is the military. And, sadly, you'll find some things that are pretty bad.
Congresswoman, we've for many years on the angle said the DOD is chock full of bloat and waste. But a lot of Republicans you can't touch the DOD. Is that the right mindset?
That's right. So the Pentagon actually has never passed an audit. And also, we just saw the other day, Zelensky doesn't know where $100 billion is of aid we've given. And so we have a lot of audits that we need to do in a lot of different agencies.
Congresswoman, thanks for what you've already uncovered, and keep at it.
3 weeks of... So what you're seeing, obviously, by the way, I'm going to take it right now. Usually I do super chats at the end, but if he or she is watching... T. Berry 1, thank you very, 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 very much. T. Berry 1 is going to go to good use. T. Berry 1 has donated $1,000 today on Rumble. My goodness, thank you very much. I had to say it right now. Thank you. But what you're seeing with these Republicans are finally feeling like they can flex a muscle. And I think what's also going to happen is they're now going to look around and see who's stepping up. Because the ones who aren't stepping up, the ones who aren't out there screaming about this, you better look at them. You see, I've seen Tom Cruise, Ted Cruz. I've seen Josh Hawley. We just saw Byron Donalds. We see Nancy Mace. And maybe a couple others. Darrell Issa. But there's 200 or something in the House and 50 in the Senate. That's 250 plus people We're not hearing from everybody yet. Why are they all not screaming about this? If you don't start hearing from people, especially your representative, MTG, she's been screaming about it. As I think about it, Tommy Tuberville, there's been more, but not 250 of them. So it's up to you to get on the phone. Go after them on Twitter, X. What the hell is going on? And is your name attached to any of this stuff? Because if your name's not attached to any of this stuff, then why aren't you just ringing the bell and screaming about it? Why are you not doing everything you possibly can to let all of your constituents know what the hell is going on? That's the least you can do to get into this fight. The people you elected in your local areas, I don't care if it's a mayor. We need as many people up in arms about this as possible. This should not be something that's That's why I'm doing this show on a gorgeous Saturday here in South Florida. I know I said I was going to do a 3:31, but it was so nice. I was going to take the day off, stay in the pool, chill with the wife and kids, wife and dogs. But this thing got me irate to the point where I'm like, if you're not ready to get out there, if you're not ready to get in this fight, I'm going to keep telling you, we're going to be in really, really big trouble. Really big trouble.
Utter shock, awe, and transformation in Washington, and it has gone at the speed of light. And, you know, thank God for the country. And then you got this freak out. What do you make of it?
I'm not sure what they're freaking out about, to be honest, Sean. I'm pretty sure we stood at rally after rally and said exactly what we were going to do. We were going to protect taxpayer dollars. We were going to help educate our children in the right way who are undereducated. So, Maxine, I'm not sure what you're stepping into, but you need to move out of the way. And we're going to create Doge. We did. And Doge is working. So I have to tell you, I know Elon, and I'm a little bit frustrated, not a little bit, but by what I'm hearing. But the people that are screaming the loudest, Sean, are probably the people that are pissed off because their money train has come to an end. We're done now. Sorry, Chuck. Sorry, Maxine. Sorry, Nancy, with your stock trades. The show's over. We are now looking, and we're going to audit, and we're going to find out what's going on, and we're finding a lot. We've named them over and over again. And by the way, the list is extensive. Operas for transgender LGBTQ people. We're funding condoms. We're funding, things that are unheard of. One was teaching people how to use their pronouns in another country. We spent millions of dollars. This is absurd. We are supposed to take care of taxpayer dollars. And what the last administration did was get rich and waste money. And I'm tired of it.
Yeah, she's tired of it. But the question is, are you? Are you tired of it? These people are riding your back at this point. You have to understand. They have been riding you, and we don't know for how long. You've been going to work. You've been paying your bills. You've been doing everything you can, taking care of your family, giving to the church, and you didn't realize you had another 150 pounds on your back or more that you've been carrying. And whether or not your tax base was 20%, 30%, 40, or 50%, they've been abusing you. Donald Trump just, how long ago is this? Yeah, a little while ago since we've been on here. President Trump has ordered all federal agencies to provide lists of poor performing employees. Any employee who has received less than a fully successful performance rating in the past 3 years is subject to immediate termination. Man ain't playing around. So you're probably going to see people jumping into personnel files and, oh yeah, Fred's great. We give him a 90. This is coming to a head. It's going to get there, and be ready. That's all I can say is be ready.
Is funding Sesame Street a judicious use of soft power?
Well, Michael, the way you put it is the way I hope folks considering your poll today will think about it. This isn't just funding a kid show for children, millions of children in countries like Iraq. It's a show that helps teach values, helps teach public health, helps prevent kids from dying from dysentery and disease, and helps push values like collaboration, peacefulness, cooperation in a society where the alternative is ISIS, extremism, and terrorism.
So, Chris Coons, who is a Democrat senator, is out here on a Saturday morning show trying to tell people it was necessary to spend this money in these other countries because if we don't spend this money, these kids are going to grow up and maybe be terrorists. Why is that my responsibility? Why isn't their government teaching them this? And obviously, it hasn't been working. I mean, I understand what happened on October 7th. It ain't working. And I don't think that $20 million on a video for Sesame Street, yeah, did you look into, notice he doesn't talk about the spend. He talks about what they hope to do. So let me back it up. Hey, Chris, how long was this video? 30 minutes? 60 minutes? I don't know. How did it cost $20 million? Nobody asked the right questions. Ashley said to me earlier today, she goes, do you want to get some Democrats on and see if you can talk to them and have like a point-counterpoint type conversation? And like I showed you yesterday with Glenn Beck when he was talking to that guy, you ask these people 2 or 3 questions and they can't answer. They implode. They have no ability to have a cognitive discussion with you because their ideology gets in the way. So I have produced videos, I have produced shows, I have produced commercials for some of the biggest brands in the world. I know what a director does. I know what this person does. Some of the commercials you have seen that you've watched on TV that are 30 seconds or 60 seconds long. I know how much it costs to get the talent, get the film, the production, the editing to get that done. You're going to see a bunch of commercials tomorrow. If you're watching the Super Bowl, you're going to see a whole bunch of commercials. How much does it take to produce a commercial in that country? And if you produced it here, how much there were no name actors. It was Sesame Street and some music and and some colorful stuff on a set. Chris, have you looked into it? If I was talking to him, Senator Coons, have you looked into how it cost $20 million? Do you understand? Do you understand that that's not possible unless somebody stole money? And of course, you're not going to get an answer. And because of that, it's very hard to talk to these people. The people on CNN will loft up little softballs to him so he can just keep going, when if you ask them the actual question that people want to know, hey, listen, if all that's true, that's fine. How did it cost $20 million? What do you mean? I'm asking you a question. You just admitted the $20 million was sufficient because it teaches this, this, and this. Okay. My question is, why did it cost $20 million? And he would never have an answer.
And to your point, it's pennies on the dollar. The U.S. Department of Defense has an annual budget of about $850 billion. USAID was spending about $30 billion. It is a small proportion of our total federal spending. And as Joe and I would often say, it's not just soft power, it's smart power. Let me leave you with one other quote, Michael, if I could. Jim Mattis, who is a 4-star Marine Corps general and Trump's Secretary of Defense in his first term, in a hearing back then said, if you slash development and aid spending, then I'm going to need more bullets for our troops.
I just see one of the things you need to watch when you're watching television shows and interviews versus people going on Tucker or Alex Jones or anybody. The difference is they're going to sit there and let these people pontificate. Because what he just said, in no uncertain terms, it was a lie, but he still said it. It was only $30 billion. He said that. Compared to this, $30 billion is not really a big deal. To who? You just said to the American people, don't worry, it was only $30 billion, and even if that was the case, it's not that big of a deal. He just said that. And the guy from CNN just was, yeah. Let me ask you a question. In the house that you live in right now, your house is probably worth a couple $100,000. You probably, if you're in a rental, the same house is still probably worth a couple $100,000. You've worked hard all your life. You've brought in furniture and artwork and different things, a nice big screen television or anything. So in the totality of where you live, it may have even if you don't own it may have a value of $300,000-$400,000. So if somebody breaks into your house and steals your big screen TV that you paid $700 for, don't worry about it. It's just $700. And it's easy for these morons to say it because it's not their money. I would never presume to tell somebody that the valuation of something that you own isn't worth it if it gets stolen. Why? Because I didn't pay for it. So how could I possibly tell you, hey, your TV got stolen, get over it? Because that's what he just told you. You worked hard. You would have worked every single day. Maybe have both you and your husband or a significant other all go to work so that you can have the big screen television inside the $300,000 house. And somebody stole the $700 television, and it's too bad. Get over it. And the guy from CNN just... That's why it's very hard to interview people on the other side, because as soon as you challenge them, they fall apart. Chris Coons went on to CNN in that segment with a prepared argument. And General Mattis said this. I don't give a shit what General Mattis said. I don't care. You took and you trivialized $30 billion as if it was no big deal because it doesn't come out your pocket, you scumbag.
I want to be clear. I've talked to a number of your colleagues in the last couple of days. I want to be clear that elections have consequences, and you can disagree with the policy prescriptives and goals of a particular administration, but your responsibilities as a member of Congress are outlined in the United States Constitution in Article 1. Your responsibility to appropriate money and distribute it is a constitutional responsibility. I'm not sure where the fuzziness is around here. Elon Musk and his people have no business in the systems of our government.
That's right. Elon Musk is unelected. Unaccountable. He's a greedy billionaire, self-interested with foreign entanglements, and he should not.
Let me ask you a question. He didn't ask you that. You just chose to answer the question with, some sort of denigrating attack, like it makes you feel better. You see, again, the question is wrong. The question is set up to get the answer that these people on television want you to have. The question is, if you're responsible as a congressional person, a congressperson, if you're supposed to have the power of the purse, why didn't you audit these agencies? Why didn't you get together with certain people and audit where the money was going? And then you just sit back and let her throw up by herself. But no, you asked her a question, and what did she do? She went straight to an attack on Elon Musk. Unelected. Nobody's elected. We've gone through this already. None of them. There's only a few people in the entire government, even Democrats, who are elected and running things. That is the stupidest argument they ever spewed. But the fact of the matter is, since you acknowledge that you are part of the people who are supposed to, understand what the power of the purse is. Hey, Miss Cueball, why didn't you see where the money was going? Second question, why do you have a problem with somebody like Elon Musk auditing it? He's not doing anything. He's like, oh, I see, here's where the money is. This is where it went. So why do you have a problem with that? Those two questions. That could have been the whole interview, but there's no way she could answer that.
Be accessing the American people's private information and data. He's got his grubby hands on Mima and Granddad's Social Security information. No private citizen should be accessing Social Security information, Medicare payments, your tax refunds.
Again, he didn't interrupt her. No private person should be accessing your private information. Has this wench ever been to a bank? I'm just saying. Has she ever seen a credit bureau? Has she, I don't know, ever seen the employees at the Treasury Department? So if no private person, nobody, including Elon Musk and Big Balls, if nobody should be accessing private information, how would anything ever get done? When you call 1-800, help me, I need you to check on something, that person says, do I have permission to access your information? Yeah, that's the first thing they say. Who does have permission to access personal information? You think the people at the IRS aren't looking at your stuff? They don't ask the right questions. That's why they don't want to come on with me.
And that's why, we have to match their energy. That's why as a member of the Committee on Oversight and Reform, I was there in front of the Treasury building conducting some real-time oversight. We are a co-equal branch of government in Congress. On the Oversight Committee, it's our job to hold federal agencies and the government accountable where there is corruption, where there is abuse, where there is fraud. And what we are experiencing is a power grab. It is a constitutional crisis. It means wholesale harm for everyone who calls this country home. So we have to litigate. We have to legislate. We have to agitate. We have to organize peacefully in these streets. So they're going to see us in the courts, in Congress, and in these streets. And I just hope.
Legislate. Initiate, activate, agitate. I ain't hearing nothing about count. You see, you listed everything in your diatribe except count the money. Your entire premise was that the fact that Congress has the ability to do this, quote, oversight. Well, why don't you do some oversighting? Because you initiate, activate, agitate, aggravate. No oversighting? You want to get out in the street? You don't need to go out in the street. You need to just start hitting your keyboard. Talk to your other compatriots. Why aren't you oversighting if you're on oversight committee? Again, Mr. MSNBC doesn't even know to answer the questions, ask the questions correctly.
I don't even feel like I can call it a Republican Party anymore, Ali, because it's really operating much more like a cult of cowards. If there are any Republicans that will center the American people and join us in supporting our legislation that we've introduced, our leader, Hakeem Jeffries, the Taxpayer Data Protection Act, to protect people's data. They're not centering the American people. And I'm sure Trump's fragile ego had a problem with Elon Musk on the front cover of Time magazine there. But he's operating as a co-president, and he was elected by no one.
If these people ever want to know why their ratings are in the toilet, absolutely in the toilet. I break these things down almost on a daily, nightly basis. It's because people with functioning frontal lobes can see this stuff and go, you people are idiots. There's no getting away from it. You levied enough insults, which is, I don't know, something I guess you guys decide makes you look good, but you never talked about doing anything productive. Oh, this Tax Data Privacy Act? We have Privacy Acts already in place. So what are you trying to do with that? I bet you there's a whole bunch of money stuck to it. By the way, can you tell me which part of this act Hakeem Jeffries actually wrote? Oh, you wouldn't want me asking you questions. I was like, Congressman Cuba, what did you actually write? What text did you write? I'd love to know your ability to write bills. What did you write? And then when she said, I didn't, where'd it come from? Who's the deep state person who wrote this thing? You know these people don't write these bills. Who is writing the bills? Those are the people behind this, the screen. Those are the Oz of the world. You guys are just stuck out there and someone's got their hand up your butt and go out there and speak crazy when you could easily ask them the question, hey, Congressman Cuball, I've seen the text here. What exactly does this paragraph mean? Oh, I thought you wrote this. It has your name on it.
This is not normal. This is not normal, and we cannot conduct business as if it is normal, and there should be no cooperation. The Senate should not be confirming, Senate Democrats should not be confirming any nominees.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure the Senate doesn't, what would be the word? Conflate what Doge is doing with the nominee. Remember, it's consent and advise. See, this is the problem the Democrats have, is they use different tools like this idiot judge to try and gum up the works when you're just not doing your job. If you are on the oversight committee, which I don't know how these people get on committees, if that's what you do, why don't you just do that? Do some oversighting. We'd love to see you. But no, you can't do that. All you want to do is BITC, you know what, and whine and insult and everything else. Well, speaking of insulting,
our country, and in the same way that we value rightly the men and women who serve the United States in uniform, we should value these civilians who have done America's bidding in so many difficult places.
The John Roberts. I had a long piece about Samantha Power, and I just cut it because I'm tired of people telling us that people in other countries mean more to them than people in this country. And, you know, I'm only going through these different things because, again, it exhibits what I've been saying for the last hour or two. It smells like victory. It smells like victory to me.
Won't just enshrine this under law and say that Donald Trump does have the unitary authority to spend America's money and it's not Congress. By the time it gets there, again, won't it be too late? They have the payment system. They've got the normalized Indian hate guys back on the job. Can we even stop this?
Well, I mean, speed is of the essence here, for the reasons you're saying, Joy. It is an overwhelming amount of information about a huge number of people. And so if the courts move with dispatch, they might be able to prevent a lot of damage from being inflicted. But nobody should normalize what's going on here. We've got the wealthiest man in the world who cannot be president because he was born in apartheid South Africa and then made his way to Canada and then to America, because he can't be president except if he can buy himself a de facto presidency by putting up hundreds of millions of dollars for Donald Trump. You know, Time magazine.
So you're seeing the refrain that the Democrats use with the crystal ball thing. I mean, not the crystal ball, but the fake stuff to try and hypnotize people. Never said anything about Soros. Never said anything about Soros' son. Never said anything about the $400 million that Zuckerberg, gave for those lock boxes or whatever they were, voting boxes. None of that. That's fine. But they go on these shows, and again, I'm just showing you so you can see yourself. There is no intent to discuss anything about what was found. I have been watching. I DVR all this stuff, and I go through it. And I'm like, are you going to talk about, And so I'm showing you snippets of what they do to their audience. They never talk about the elephant in the room, or the 5 elephants in the room, as it may be right now. All it is just trash Trump, trash Elon. Dude, what about the money? What about using and abusing people's tax dollars? Can you please address that?
Got him sitting in the Oval Office on the cover at the Resolute desk, but he's acting like he is president. In fact, I don't know of any president who's ever done anything remotely like this, which is basically engineer an operation to take custody of millions and millions of records of the American people. The financial systems of the Treasury Department, the data of the American people. He's got his claws into the defense operation, telecom, you name it. So the people in Silicon Valley think that he wants to be the monarch of a new techno-feudal state. That's why you've got Steve Bannon and other people on the right attacking Elon Musk. And Steve Bannon has said he is a truly evil person.
That's the problem I had with what Steve Bannon and some of the people on the right did. All they did, they had no success in anything that they tried. All they did was give people like this moron fodder to attack Elon Musk. Nothing else came from that other than they could say this. That's how bad it is for the Democrats to continue to lie. We are at the precipice of something extremely, extremely volatile at this point. We're looking over at a cauldron of a volcano that's blah, 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 blah. It's popping up. And I don't mean to say that knowing that a 8.0 earthquake just happened in the Caribbean. So this happens. We find out about all this money, and this is why I keep telling you, you guys have to be warriors. You have to put the word out. I know some of you people say, oh man, turn this off. I don't want to hear from these people, blah, 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 blah. No, because you have to now understand that the people on the left and Democrats who do have functioning frontal lobes are not getting the message. She spends an hour every single night lying. You need to counteract that and hit Jamie Raskin. Hey, Jamie, where'd this money go? They don't mention it. I cannot tell you how many episodes of this crap that I flip through and flip through and flip through, and I'm like, they're not even mentioning the crime. They don't even tell the people watching their shows what the hell happened. So how are these people going to know? You have to tell them.
Should not be running the U.S. government. So at some point, we've got to wake up beyond party lines for all Americans to see what's going on here in this rapidly expanding and accelerating coup.
Very quickly, just before we go, very quickly, Elon Musk's Doge is now in the Medicare and Medicaid.
I want to know who are these young, highly intelligent, highly motivated zealots following him into these buildings and shutting off payments to schools and Head Starts. I want to know their names.
Well, they're trying to, the local officials are trying to make that official. The newly installed Trump are threatening people for naming their names, just so you know. But go ahead.
Oh, yeah, but they can unmask, yeah.
No, that's not what happened. When you see the lie, you got to call out the lie. Sorry, Kara. They were trying to dox these kids, and the acting attorney general said he's going to prosecute people who tried to dox these kids. They euphemize, they lie, but again, nobody's talking about the money.
Officers who put their lives in harm's way to try and keep our Americans safe. I want to know who their names are, and I want to see Democratic governors saying, I'm going to do everything I can in my power to use the full faith and to the letter of the law to put you folks in prison. I think what you're doing is trespassing. I think this is a coup. And be clear, just because the new insurrectionist who was elected, I don't believe this is legal. And I'm going to hold the people accountable who are trespassing and a part of a coup accountable. To just sit back and say this is horrible and this is unlawful, we need to go gangster here and say, look, we are not negotiating around this stuff. This is illegal. This is a coup. This is the unlawful seizure of power. We are not.
He made me check my notes because I forgot on November 5th, we voted Donald Trump in to do exactly what he's doing. How is it an unlawful seizure of power? But one thing I hope you're recognizing from the absence of reality of these people is it underscores that a major crime has taken place. You can't see what we've seen and not feel as though you've been stolen from. And so when you see these people completely ignoring what we've seen, there's two things that come from this. Actually, one big thing. They're on the take. There's no other explanation how you could look at hundreds of billions of dollars flying out the door and you don't even discuss it. You walk through a crime scene with a chalk outline and it doesn't even faze you. There's still blood on the ground. You got a bloody chalk line. And you turn to people and go, what's for dinner? Wait, don't look. That tells me there's crimes. You can't possibly, every single one of you in the chat, every single of you who have been watching all week long, you're irate. Not a little upset, not worried. You're irate that this money has been stolen over and over and over again. Hundreds of, and these people, it's like it never even happened. So that tells you, they know it's a crime. They've either been paid to or have realized from a political advantage not to talk about it. How do you not talk about what arguably the biggest crime in American history? And you want to go gangsta? Dude, you don't look like you're ready to go gangsta, okay? Just letting you know. But you want to go gangsta because we're talking about the crime? And you and the other lady there don't even mention the crime? Why do you think people are pissed off? Maybe it's because you people won't mention what's going on.
Engage in these bullshit, ridiculous arguments over, Gaza and Greenland. We are going to hold the people accountable. Here are their names, here are their faces, and we have contacted the local authorities in where these kids live, these young adults, and we are going to hold them accountable.
And the question is, a lot of them are like, what do we do? They're literally asking me, what do we do to stop him? I was like, I was like, you actually don't have the means to do so, because these poor people are in these agencies. And when these idiots come in, these children, these arrogant little pricks come in and say, we're going to call the federal.
I need to send her the tape of the guy crying at the meeting that his fifis were hurt. She's never met any of these people. She has not met a single person in Doge. I know this because Elon had said it. You haven't met any of them, but you call them an arrogant little pricks. You know nothing of them. But then again, where's the money? That's the one question I have for you. They don't want to come on a show like this. Democrats don't. Okay, yeah, they're arrogant little pricks. Great. Where's the money? Why did $500 billion vaporize? You don't want to talk about it. You need to talk about it.
Marshals or the president has ordered you to step aside. They kind of have to. You have to be resistant and be walked out by security. And then security doesn't know which one to listen to, right? Essentially.
I'd like to see all, whatever it is, 48 or 49 U.S. senators and any Republicans that want to join. I'd like to see a couple hundred members of Congress go to the fucking building where this is and demand to go in and physically stop this and let them arrest you.
Yeah, they tried that. Yeah, they tried that, and they got turned around. But what is it? The question is, what do you want stopped? It's to the point now where I think I've shown you guys how to respond to liberals here, because nobody wants to talk about the crime scene. Don't you find it odd? Don't you find it odd that grown-ass people from another party can see what's happening and to an individual will not address what I'm sure has to be bothering people in their own constituency, wherever they're from? They're obviously not talking to people because people are like, where's all this money going? How come I drive a taxi and I can't afford for you to be paying $20 million for a video at Sesame Street in Afghanistan? Where'd the money go? Who appropriated this money? They don't even want to talk about it.
Man, listen, you've been protesting all week. I've seen you. I've seen this on your social media, including the following. Take a quick look.
What do we need?
I mean, Maxwell, I could spend a long time telling you what we need. My question for you, what can you do?
Yeah, well, I appreciate you having me on. I mean, obviously everybody knows we're in the minority, but, you know, we have to make this decision. Do we want to act like we're in the minority or do we want to act like the opposition? And the fact of the matter is, of course, our institutional levers that we can pull to stop these things are limited. But the things we can do, we should do them. Even if ultimately it doesn't stop something, we should work to delay, to obstruct, to try to stop the things that are going to negatively impact our constituents. We can show up to these federal buildings and make sure that people across the country know exactly what's going on, and the fact that a lot of their federal elected officials have been shut out from the process. And it's not even just Democrats, it's Republicans too in Congress that have no idea what's going on. They're just not saying anything because they bow to Elon Musk, they bow to Donald Trump. So it's litigation, working with the outside groups, it's protest and mobilization, making sure that we're protesting, doing direct action. We need people to be on the phones calling Republican members of Congress to tell them to grow a spine and do something.
Why don't you tell these Republicans, since you think the Republicans are going to get on the phone and say do something, what would you like them to do? Oh, just tell Elon to stop looking. I only got a few minutes left of this, but I think I've made my point. I don't want to be overly redundant, but I think many of you don't realize how bad the grift really is. And again, this guy's new. I think he's a freshman senator. So he was brought in to be, one of the orcs, just to get out there and scream about stuff, but never say anything. So what do I say? Just say it's bad and the billionaires and billionaires and we need to stop this. What do you want to stop? And obviously the media is complicit because she doesn't ask. What exactly are you looking to stop?
Bill that Hakeem Jeffries is introducing that would help stop a lot of what Elon Musk is doing. If every Democrat gets behind it, it means we only need three Republicans that get behind it too. So calling those Republicans in those frontline districts are going to be really important. And then us on the inside, we need to work at using the parliamentary procedure and the different procedures that we can in committee to stop, delay, and obstruct the worst parts here of Donald Trump's agenda. And we saw an example of this the other day in the Oversight Committee. Our ranking member, Jerry Connolly, called for a vote to subpoena Musk, caught the Republicans off guard. We almost won that vote, even though we're outnumbered on the committee. So we got to keep doing things like that and hold their feet to the fire.
Yeah.
Ben Jones, I want to get your reaction to something New York Times columnist Nick Kristof wrote about the effort to dismantle USAID. He wrote, quote, "The world's richest man, Elon Musk, is boasting about destroying the United States Agency for International Development, which saves the lives of the world's poorest children, saying he shoved it into the wood chipper." It's true. I mean, in the Doge world, and it extends beyond, they're characterizing USAID as just a pot of wasted money.
Now, as you've been watching this for the time you've been with me, you are now seeing specifically, with no holds barred, that these people hate America. It's those poor kids. Those poor kids over there may not eat. So we need to keep taking your money and ship it over there. Not a single mention about American families. I empathize with people who went through the hurricane up in Appalachia, the fires of California, the fires in Maui, and now we're going to see some devastation in the Caribbean. I empathize with that. That shouldn't be, if the people in Puerto Rico get whacked by a tsunami, they're going to need our help. We can't keep shipping money over to these third world countries. We just can't. But yet, this is what they continue to push for. These people over there are going to die, man. They're going to die.
That denies a broad part of its mission here. Are Democrats getting that point across, in your view?
I don't know, but I tell you, it's beyond cruel. Mm-hmm. There are people who are going to die in very large numbers because they were counting that the United States, which made promises, we won't let your children die. We won't let your children die of HIV. We won't let your children die of malaria. You can count on us. We have refrigerators that are keeping that medicine cold for your child. Those refrigerators are in danger of being unplugged all across the world, and children will be dying. And
how many refrigerators got unplugged in Los Angeles, Maui, and recently up in the North Carolina area? Hey, Van, what about those people? The entirety of what we've been seeing over the last week or so has really exposed these people. That they feel it's a shame that other people... It almost pisses me off to the point where I want to scream, because I would love to come talk to Van Jones. Ashley, if you can, I'd love to talk to him. And I would say, Van, do you have a family? If something happened to little Shaniqua and she needed something, do you want the American hospital saying, I can't give it to you because we sent it to Uganda? You live here. You just said these people are counting on America to take care of them. I am 100% sure and positive that the citizens of this country absolutely believe that the government is here to protect, serve, and in our hours of need, take care of us. So what gives? You people are scum.
people will remember this. And the cruelty, the casual cruelty that is being displayed toward people around the world who believe in this country, who count on this country, who tell China, go away, the United States is going to protect us and stand with us. Those are the horror stories rippling around the world. And when you have a bunch of 22-year-old kids running around the federal government, having a great time, destroying people's lives, Americans who've gone to college and whose parents are proud of them, who took jobs in the federal government, everyday heroes who are doctors, who are lawyers, who are trying to help Americans, when those people are now afraid tonight, they won't be able to sleep tonight. They don't know if they have a job tomorrow. That's not fun. It's not funny. Elon Musk is a disgrace, and what he's doing is unconscionable. It's unconscionable.
Lauren, David, none of us are guaranteed tomorrow. That includes our jobs, except for if you work in a government. These people believe nobody in government should ever lose their job. If you get a government job, you should be there forever. And the government bloat just keeps going. You see, the problem is because these people ain't paying for it. They call themselves Democrats and liberals, but they use conservative fiscal policies. I guarantee you, Van, prove me wrong, post your tax return. Show me your carried interest. Show me your deductions and your schedules. I guarantee you, you're not paying your, quote, fair share. But you get pissed off at everybody else and tell us we have to keep giving. It makes me sick.
The Trump administration, certainly, and Trump himself, has not been shy about spending time in a courtroom, right? Sometimes they go there voluntarily. Is this an evidence that they didn't do their homework prior, or are these legal fights they expected and expect perhaps to win?
Well, I think they're legal fights that they want to have. I mean, I think a lot of these are designed, part of the sort of speed with which everything is happening at is to get this stuff challenged in court, even if they're not convinced they have the winning argument, perhaps, let's say, on the birthright citizenship issue. Right. They want the fight in court because it helps elevate their position. And ultimately, some of these things are going to get before a Supreme Court that has 3 Trump appointees already on it, and they think may be friendly turf for some of these issues. So not only do they not shy away from the fight, Jim, I think they are eager to have some of these fights in these courtrooms.
Van Jones,
that might be the only true thing I've seen on CNN in years. I mean, years. Yes, we're spoiling for this fight. We want this fight. Some of the stuff that Trump is doing, he knows it'll get turned down in court. But he wants the fight. Make these people decide on things. and get it up to the Supreme Court, because once it gets to SCOTUS, some of these things are going to get settled and it'll be done with and we can move on. And he's going to win a bunch of them, even with Amy Coney Barrett.
Yeah, and it speaks to the governing style where they don't want to deal with Congress, even though they have a bare majority there. They don't want to take the time. They don't want to do the compromise. People forget, okay, it's one party, but even within parties, there are different views about how to do things. There are committee chairs. There are people who have their own elected power. And they've not talked about, the inaugural speech didn't have a big congressional agenda. Trump's not doing much about Congress except saying, approve my people. And Musk reflects that because, again, he had a little dry run over the funding at the end of the year, and it didn't go so well for him. And so what they're trying to do is see how much they can push and break things and what the pushback will be. And so they're on the same page right now. But if that pushback fails, if that work fails and the pushback constrains, I'll give you one headline on the citizenship. The rule of law is something Trump sees as an impediment to his goals, something to navigate around or simply ignore, personal gain. There's now a national judicial order blocking that effort. Musk is doing things that are getting trimmed in the courts. If this all fails and Musk is getting too much attention, then a couple of weeks from now, you could see a shift away from this trial and error strategy.
So again, now they've gone to the strategy again of Donald Trump's going to get jealous because Elon Musk is getting too much publicity, which means what you're doing, you're hoping that's the case, and so you're telling us what your programming is. Your program is designed to fulfill your own prophecy. Say, listen, we think that these two guys are going to have a falling out, so why don't we keep saying this over and over to help facilitate them having a falling out? You create the issue, then you try to amplify the issue, even though the issue isn't correct. There's nothing there. But you're trying to paint a picture that, Trump and Elon aren't going to get along that well. And if we can keep saying it, maybe we can actually see it happen. But again, your audience is too stupid to realize that.
Well, yeah, right. Here's the thing. Musk is a business person, right? He's been able to sell us on anything. He can, sell ice in the winter and fire in hell, whatever it is. But he doesn't know what he's doing. He never has. He never has. He doesn't actually understand governing, as you mentioned before. And so what you have is someone who is simply breaking things because they think that's cool. And you have several members of Congress, not just Republicans, but also Democrats, who are finally figuring out when you're dealing with people who don't want to govern, they just want to break, you have to find a way to fight back. To me, if we were to read a headline tomorrow, Ari, that Mark Cuban was running the personnel office under Vladimir Putin, we would say it's insane. That's basically the same thing here. Just having a rich guy who's your friend come in and run the government is not the way things work. But my concern is, even if Donald Trump were to say, okay, that's enough, my ego has been bruised enough, Musk has put so many complications and firewalls in our national security systems and in our Treasury system and everything else like that. You might not be able to remove him. There may be backlogs and all sorts of technical things in there that allow him access in ways that we never would have imagined. And that's the long-term consequence of either an ongoing coup or just massive mismanagement, or unfortunately both.
Part of...
I don't even know how you address that. Maybe he's done this. Maybe he's done this. Maybe he's done that. Oh, maybe he exposed you. How about that? Maybe he exposed what you guys have been doing. I spent a long time going over a lot of what the left has been saying. You got a little sampling there of the lies, of the insanity. And that sampling that you got was designed to show you we're winning. They don't have an answer. It took maybe longer than I expected to get to the apex of this. But the bottom line is, you now know they have no answer for what has been happening. They have seen the crime scene. They have... Everybody's talking about it, and they have to do nothing but ignore it. that tells you there's no answer. And when your opponent has no answer, it's time to go for the throat. When your opponent has no answer, they do desperate things like try to tell Trump and Scott Bessent that you can't, that the Treasury Secretary and the President can't access data. It's agonal breathing being displayed on television right in front of you. You just need to be able to recognize that the napalm is hit. And they don't surf. Because you love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory.
We're going to win so much, you may even get tired of winning. And you'll say, please, please, it's too much winning. We can't take it anymore. Mr. President, it's too much. And I'll say, no, it isn't. We have to keep winning. We have to win more. We're going to win more.
We have not won. We are indeed winning. You've just seen a bunch of video that tells you you're winning. When your opponent can't even address what you're doing. You're going to watch the Super Bowl tomorrow. I don't know how many of you are going to watch the Super Bowl. But when you watch the Super Bowl, if one of the two teams can't answer what the other team is doing, they will lose. If you keep throwing the ball to a wide receiver and you can't cover them, and you don't have any ability to change and adapt to what they're doing, you're going to lose. If you keep handing the ball off up the middle and the running back can just go for 20 or 30 yards at a time, and you can just keep doing that, you're going to lose. If you're on the defense, I'm talking. And right now, these people are on defense and they have no answer for what is happening in front of them. They're just getting rolled over. They're not dead. Because I said, there's a deep state back there. The Democrats are done. The people behind them aren't done. Just remember that. So now, I need you. Trump needs you. America needs you to amplify that messaging and to make sure you do everything you can to keep mentioning the complete stealing of money, because they're not. Your message is going to get amplified. Your message is going to be heard. There's no comeback to it. In fact, I've noticed something that's been very funny. Usually when you put something on X or Facebook and people object to it, they'll come back and say something. It's almost like they've been told, don't even engage with these. Try to make it die. Don't let it die. Keep talking. They've got nothing. I'm telling you, they've got nothing. And now you should be at this point capable enough to say, yeah, why did we give $20 million for Big Bird in Burma or wherever it was? Why are we trying to, why do we give $10 million to try and, change the rats? There's no answer. There is no answer. And so keep pushing. Watch what happens over the next 24 to 48 hours. Keep going. Trump's going to talk tomorrow and do a Super Bowl interview on Fox. But keep going. Keep going. I wish I could play that clip right now, but I'm telling you, I love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory. And if you've never seen that part of the movie in Apocalypse Now, we're in the apocalypse. I just hope the country survives what's about to happen. That's the crazy part. Very lovely show and Sharon X, GOP House and Senate, along with Democrat House and Senate, along with Elon and President Trump. Yep, we didn't give that money. That money was taken. I bet they all showed up when Trump says lawsuit. Absolutely. Great job, Barry. Thank you, Terry. Thank you very much. The key is who approved it. That's the scary part. Congress approved it. Congress said, yeah, we approve these omnibus budgets and everything else. And I've showed you, excuse me, as long as that money or that request hit the Treasury Department, which is why this judge's ruling is what it is, it just goes out. Nobody looks at it. No, if it goes to dead people, it goes to dead people. If it goes to terrorists, it goes to terrorists. Nobody is checking. Congressman Coup said she's on the oversight committee. Hello. Did you know this money was going to dead people? I mean, that's a pretty easy thing to have oversight of it, isn't it? Can't you just go in and, get your group together and say, okay, can we do a report on all the dead people who are getting money? How tough is that one? How about, can you do a report on all the people who we've either arrested or are under, fraudulent activity? Can you do one on the people who have been designated terrorists? Can we at least do that one? I thought you were on the oversight committee. I mean, it's easy to say stuff when you don't mean it, but there's millions and millions of dollars. Chris Coons, how did you produce one show for $20 million? Doesn't make any sense. Why doesn't President Trump recess cash already? Can't ask you that. I don't know. Maybe it's coming. Yep, 3,000-page bill comes down at midnight and they vote for it in 4 hours. Yep. Gotta go home. Gotta get out of here. They just do it. Little kids starving in Iraq. Let them eat Big Bird. That's too funny. It's to many American people that homeless and veterans. You can't catch a thief without the evidence. The part in that order that got me was when he said you had to destroy all the evidence. Come on, man. Did we look stupid? Well, actually, yeah, you look stupid for even putting that ruling out there. All right, so let me go ahead and just let you guys know. If you'd like to join us over on X, go to fanfareshop.org/group. That is our free group of nearly 15,000 people have joined us in that private X group. Think you'd like it. And if you'd like to enter to win a hoodie, go to fanfareshop.org. The site is working. If you're having an issue, clear your cache, C-A-C-H-E, clear your cache, because something may have gotten stuck in there, but it is working as of like 2 o'clock, so you can go there. Let me go ahead and acknowledge Super Chats. Again, as I'm getting ready to acknowledge the Super Chats, I want to thank T-Berry1 over on Rumble, who had some massive Super Chats, or donations as they call it on Rumble. I greatly appreciate it. Very much so. More than you can even imagine. Because probably with everything we've said today, this video might end up getting demonetized. What I should do, I forgot to do this. Talk to you about the Huckabee thing. President Trump said he wants to teach our kids to love our country, and now that it's finally time for him to be doing his job in the Oval Office, which we all love what he's been doing, it's the perfect time to teach kids everything they need to know about their new president and his mission to make America great again. That's why Mike Huckabee's team put together the Kids Guide to President Trump. And to celebrate President Trump's return to the White House, they're giving it away for free. This book is great because it features fun illustrations and content teaching kids all about President Trump's accomplishments and his goals for his second term. Mike Huckabee wants to send your family this free guide so you can teach your kids the truth about President Trump. And when you order, you'll receive a free commemorative President Trump pin. But you must hurry because supplies are limited. Claim your free Kids Guide to President Trump for your kids right now. See offer details and order your free guide at kidstrumpguide.com. That's kidstrumpguide.com. Or you can just click on the QR code that's right here. kidstrumpguide.com. All right, so let me go ahead and recognize some of the Super Chats. Tommy, thank you. Mr. and Mrs. Conehead for the absurd analysis. Prince Wally wasn't elected either. Presidents appoint and give authority to how hard it is. Just guys, know Tommy's made a couple music videos. The ones that aren't copyright related, I'm compiling them and we'll play them tomorrow. Tommy's a good guitar player, great guitar player. Donna, the one that makes me cry is the $10 million that supposedly goes to science to see how fast a shrimp can run on a treadmill. In case, we ever have to chase the shrimp. Brian Newland, is there RICO cases in this for laundering? I would think Pam Bondi can't talk about it right now, but once she digs in, that may indeed be the case. 3540 crew, Elon is the ball, Trump is where the ball is going. Stay the course. Patrast, the taxpayer funds used to buy media clowns to bark BS. That's for sure. That's been happening. Vincent Lemoine, Barry Rawson with that said they may uncover why we stay in wars and we need any missions, they need money. Hey, the people weren't supposed to find out. Nope, we were never supposed to know. And staying in wars feeds that deep state money. Patty Siebold, you are welcome, Libnuts. Trump gave you something new to complain about. He's giving them a lot of stuff to complain about. Keep them running and chasing their tails. Party Dog, I think that every joker that has a problem with Doge has taken part in the stealing. Yeah, I think that's going to come out. Look, Ma, I think I love those fake angry tears. Steve James, Elmo charges extra to film in a war zone. Talking about the Sesame Street video. Ron, Barry, they're not concerned about the wasteful spending. That shows why they want this stopped and the corruption. They are all behind it. I just wonder if they're recruited and told, you just need to do what we tell you to do, and we'll take care of you. Wendy A. Tai, you are the next best source to news just beside X. I had sent you the story in DM on X, and then I come to your show and had to rewind 2 hours and see you are already talking about it. I try to do a lot of research, Wendy. Patty Seabold, read only. Yeah, it's crazy. She probably doesn't understand what that means. Lynn Goldmeyer, they hate you, they hate me, they hate America, period. Yeah, they do. And they're trying to convince people, the poor kids over in Afghanistan, what about them? Man, we all have hearts. We understand, but we got to take care of us first. It's not wrong. Greg Jurgen, I looked up and called, and we'll call again Monday morning. Wheelchair, cowboy, MAGA patriot, doing my part. Yes, absolutely. Keep the pressure on. Ozark Ghost Hunter, the Dems' arrogance has led to their demise. Ain't that the truth? They have lied so much and been so arrogant and condescending, they don't know what to do at this point. Arrogant little. Yep, you got that one right. I cannot believe these people are being so nasty to people. Actually, I can't believe it. Danny Robinson, today is a solemn reminder that things can go sideways in a minute. Best to be prepared with extra food, pew-pews, and precious metals. People should frame what you just said. It can go sideways real quick. I would hate to turn this on and do a video and find out people couldn't access their bank accounts. Thank you, Desert Star. Steve Bankowski, in all seriousness, how can our federal government make this right for the American taxpayers? Abolish Texas? This is making me puke. I don't know how. I mean, that would probably be the only way. Party Dog, that's a nice blouse Joy Reid have on. She can blend right in with the rest of the animals out in the African safari. Carmen said something. I kind of brought it. I don't know if I brought it up. Supposedly, Elon. I haven't been able to confirm it, which is why I didn't bring it up. He spent $40 million of his own money on 5 commercials in the Super Bowl tomorrow. So we shall see. We shall see if those actually run. It's on Fox, by the way. Party Dog, Joe Biden wasn't elected. I think they need to hold the lie as long as they possibly can. Ozark Ghost Hunter, the Dems always deflect. Yes, indeed they do. Jose Bazil, hey, Vera, I told you one, the colonoscopy is getting deeper. I'm sick of what I've been hearing. The waste is unimaginable. It's unimaginable and it's insulting. Mad Hater contacted my representative. You go. Dan Barnes, you know when you're over the target. Not only over the target, At this point, I think we've painted the target with a laser. We can actually see it right now. And they're losing it. Nola, wait till the Sunday shows tomorrow. Oh, I'll have a lot to talk about. You know, I just said that one. Okay, Nola K, first-time voter. Why do we vote again in 2 years? Because certain Senate and House seats are on different calendars. So that's why we get to vote all over again. Steve Bankowski, Barry, I believe the IRS should give every American that worked and paid taxes for the last 20 years should get a massive refund. And it would be hard to do the refund, but how about a holiday? Hey, listen, because of what's happened, you know, we checked, you paid for however long you've been paying, you get that off the next time, like your 10-year holiday. Party Dog Barry, how about a Big Balls hoodie with balls the size of mountain oysters? These people have really, really done it bad. You can't ignore what's been going on at this point. You can't look the other way. It's just hitting us right in the face. Hello, Neil. How you doing? Thanks, Barry and team. The criminal judges protecting the deep state actors need to be removed from courts. I agree. It's coming. Bruley Music, a shout out to our mods for everything they do for us and Barry. Yes, thank you very much. They do a great job. Absolute great job. Linda Mike Stone, thank you very much. Let's see, where are we? Velta. I think people like Soros and Klaus and BlackRock, President Trump has an awful big job that will have to be done to obliterate the deep state. I can't disagree with you, that's for sure. The deep state is, at this point, quite deep, and they're willing to fight. And when I was talking about Congressman Cuba, I meant that. Who writes these bills? There's no way. There's no way these people write it. So somebody's writing it. Maria, Department of the Treasury is the linchpin. Janet Yellen, think about her. She was a dunce. She was just holding a placeholder. Mary Sue Carter, a 19-year-old can go on the battlefield with $1 million lethal weapons, but can't run an audit program. Really, some people say a 5-year-old is mature enough to, yeah, I mean, I don't know why they would denigrate people like that, but yeah, I guess we know. Tommy Ratcliffe, judge says Trump and Scott can't access U.S. Treasury payments, but Wally the Nigerian can and did for years. Yep, it's going to get thrown out. There is no possible way that could stand. It's just they're banking on what can they do in the interim. Joey Skaggs, great job, Barry. Your show is just as good as Dan Bongino. Wow, thank you very much. That's strong. Marilyn Warren, thank you very much. Wow, I love that compared to Dan Bongino. Wow, that's the boss. Penny Corder, their tools just not the brightest. Yes, exactly. John, could the Rothschild family be running the state? I don't think it's any one person. I think it's like the blacklist. I think there is a cabal that basically run the country. Whoever they may be. John, let me go to the next page. That's what my feeling is. I don't think one person can be making all this much of a mess. Golden Age, hereby grant Elon Musk and his team permission to audit my tax numbers, my tax dollars spending by the government, and all. That's a great idea. What if they put that to a vote? What if somebody took a poll? Hey, do you want Elon Musk and his team auditing the government? That would be a great thing by Gallup to run. Bruley Music, it's obvious that these Libnuts don't realize they're at war of intelligence and they're completely unarmed. Completely unarmed. Lady Addie Berry, it was known that Doge was going to access Treasury data. It's possible. Of course they already have it. Yeah, they got it. They got all of it. I mean, literally, I write little AI code. Like, here's an AI code I write personally. If I want to see all the videos about Trump and Doge, there's a code that you can put, if you know how to write the operators, there's a code that you can put in Grok, and every post on X that has a video within the last whatever date frame you put, it all come up instantly. So by thinking, hey, they didn't have time to get this, yeah, they got it. They got all of it. Like Trump has said, we got it all. And he said yesterday in his speech, we caught him. Remember what he says. He says, we caught him. Police AF 45. Paper trail always lead to the source. And digital trails even faster. God bless America. Sonny Francese went to prison for 8 years. By those standards, Pelosi is not too old to go. He was 93. You're right. She's been awful quiet. Me Lee, it's something satanic for sure. Yeah. It's funny, America One, your avatar. If you guys notice, that's the Guy Fawkes picture, and Anonymous uses it. And Anonymous has posted that they're upset. America One, we the people made the right choice. Absolutely. Brett Flores. I am an AI/ML engineer, and as far as AI goes, the cat is already out of the bag, open source, and is going nowhere. It takes seconds to parse large data. All right, all of y'all need to read what Brett just said there. I said it'd take about 15 minutes. It may even be quicker than that. These people know not what they talk of when they say, oh, go ahead and delete it. It's already gone, bro. All they needed to do is... It's out there. Proud American. Maybe President Trump can sign an executive order to eliminate income tax this year. Wouldn't that be great? Now, I understand he can't do that. He can't do an executive order to do away with income tax. That would have to go through Congress. And that ain't ever going to pass. Because I think you would need 60 votes. But I don't even think the Republicans would vote for that. Patty Seabolt, yep, file an extension. Get the time, figure out, file it. Let's see what happens. By the way, the State of the Union address is going to be lit. Jason Price, what if the Supreme Court justices have become getting paid off too? Then we're done. I mean, we'd have to face it at that point. America is basically over. I hope not. Penny quarter, dead people have also been getting voting in our elections. Yeah, they've been getting paid. They get to vote. Oh, it's amazing. Valerie Nelson, render to Caesar that which is due him, his fair share. Yeah, if it's due. TL, thank you very much. Police 45, I say pay your taxes to be on the safe side. I'm going to just let that be. Maria, can the citizens of the United States join some kind of class action suit against the non-elected bureaucrats for misappropriation of funds? I don't know. That would be a great question to ask a lawyer. Do you think BlackRock and Vanguard have anything to do with this? This is much bigger than them. Much bigger than them. Somebody, somewhere, some group of people has had the ability to... I mean, remember, this goes all the way back, years, decades. BlackRock and Vanguard I don't think they were around back then. This isn't something that just happened in the last couple of years. This probably has something to do with why JFK is no longer here and why RFK is no longer here. This goes way back, way deep. Think about that. Mara Wolf, 65, would the country collapse if there were a run on the banks? The country wouldn't, because that's your money, not the government's money. And then find out how quickly these people on the left want to help people. Jeff 26, this has not been a peaceful transfer of power by any means. Nope, not at all. They keep saying coup. They're the ones who started coup. Beverly Litton, I wonder where all those military-like newcomers have been for months. Also, cities participating in strong city networks. We may find out soon. God bless America. Barry martial law pushes Trump out of his seat. It's a complete military takeover with generals in charge. Could get scary. Lynn H., I can't wait to hear what AG Bondi's going to say and do. Yeah, I want to see what she's going to do. I want to see what Pete Hegseth is going to do. Randy, good luck, Dems. We've got the skinny private security guy. Glad I yeah, if you couldn't even take care of that guy, if you couldn't make that guy move, probably you're not going to be able to do much. You can go to the street and, do whatever you need to do and burn stuff, but we've seen what you do when people stand up to you. And I think you guys realize that. Baroness Hart, read The Secret Plan to Save Humanity by Mike S. King. Okay. Fazul, Wally's Laundromat is out of business. Wally the Nigerian. Megadrone. What? Wait just a minute. This is classic. Attempting to overthrow the government. Brad Crane just closed the Department of... Cover it all. Brett, how you doing? Destroy evidence sounds like that would be criminal. Yeah, how could a judge tell someone to destroy something? I have never heard that. Denim to Diamonds, live auctions, we are here with you, Barry. Thank you very much. I have never even could imagine hearing from a judge to destroy something before you've even had the hearing. So that's the funniest part about it. Don't you think we might need this stuff? Oh, no, just get rid of it. No, just get rid of it. Fazul again, the theft trail must be monumental. Yeah. That doesn't make any sense. Alaya N, thank you for your hard work. Connecticut in the house. Yeah, what part of Connecticut? Donna Gibson, Laura Trump has a new show on Fox Saturdays, 9 p.m. starting February 22nd. Yeah. Robert Husbands, they need to be charged for treason. Yeah, absolutely. D-Lad, Andrew Jackson defied the Supreme Court's Worcester versus Georgia ruling, saying John Marshall has made his decision. Now let him enforce it. I'm going to have to screenshot that. That's awesome. I've never heard that before. I'm going to have to find that. Would love to see that. Wait a minute, let me go ahead and copy that. Yeah, I definitely got to copy that. Rick Moore, it's time for the other states to sue New York. Their BS actions affect the whole country. I don't see how. One of the things I think we're going to have to change is you can't have judges in small parts of the country decide they're going to do something across the country. Who's this? Ryan? Where'd that go? Dems love people who roll over and show their belly. Yeah, exactly. Swagger, thank you very much. From Chapo, Paul Engelmeyer is a corrupt judge. He was my judge on my federal case. He forced me to plead guilty right in court and coached the prosecution. Sorry to hear about that, man. He was an Obama judge, too. I am Planet Hermit. We have everything. Never ask a question you don't know the answer to, Barry. Exactly. I've said that many, many times. It's in New York. This will go on forever. I agree with you. Hold on. Somebody said eggs are $8 a dozen. Our eggs down here ain't expensive. Beverly Whitten, don't this slow things down for months. No, I don't think Trump's gonna. I think he's going to ignore it. I think at this point we need to see him ignore it. Let me go here. I settled the lawsuit, not putting money into the bank. And Roger Key says Pam should disbar all these but judges for the obstruction of justice. Supreme Court can sanction them. Vincent Lemoine makes you think all that equipment left in Afghanistan could have been payoff. Very well, could have been. Richie Barron, thank you. Bubba, very, could we start a petition saying we didn't want our money used outside the USA? See, that's a part that nobody wants to address. Nobody. You're saying that all these countries relied on America. You never told us that that's what you were doing. Petras, 240,000 votes online with 95% support for Doge. Wow. I got to find that. Charlie, was that Shanta Hanisa? Barry, do you believe the reptilians is in control of the people? something's going on. What's this say? Mega Man says we need to repeal the 16th Amendment. I have to look up what that is. Brian Newland, this started with LBJ. Yep. Hi, Sandra. Sandra J.G. Thompson. I blame the Roman Catholic Church. They definitely have had a hand in this. Yep. Yvonne Berger. She says file extensions, people. It might be a good idea. NF means no harm, no foul. Okay, gotcha. I understand. And I think we're caught up. And Tommy, Tommy says the Bilderbergs. If you guys don't know who the Bilderbergs are, that might be something you want to go ahead and look up. Look that up. All right, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. Understand we are winning. We have not won, but we are indeed winning. And go see that part of the movie where love the smell of napalm in the morning. It smells like victory. Talk to you guys tomorrow. Enjoy it. Well, I'll do it way before the Super Bowl.